Deputy Director of Investigations, Lynn John, says it's odd that some journalists are often on the scene before IPID officers.
IPID has identified that media personnel are regularly contacted prior to IPID officials being notified of killings. There are instances where IPID learns of SAP's killings through social media posted by journalists.
He says KZN police officers sometimes appear to deliberately delay informing IPID when they've killed people believed to be suspects.
In some cases, SAP's official deliberately delayed the contacting of IPID officials, raising suspicion that they want to tamper with the crime scene, for example, by planting of weapons and primary residue on the deceased.
KZN hit squads will remain under the spotlight at the Madlanga Commission today. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
A Durban businessman accused of leading a human trafficking syndicate is set to spend the next 2 weeks in hospital under police watch due to his apparent medical conditions. The 65-year-old appeared in the Durban Magistrates Court yesterday, where his matter was postponed to the 25th of August. The court banned the publishing of his name pending his plea to a sexual assault charge, and EWN has seen court papers describing him as the boss of the syndicate, which operated from a Durban North mansion. Karinda Jagmohan reports.
The white paint on the high walls of the Sterling Crescent mansion in Durban North is now peeling off, although there are signs of occupants still inside. 4 years ago, the Hawks surrounded the place as they rescued 5 women who'd been lured here from Eldorado Park in Johannesburg. The women had been promised jobs at call centers or at casinos selling SIM cards, but were locked inside the house and forced into prostitution and pornography. In one incident, 2 women were made to dress in lingerie and perform for the suspect called the boss, who allegedly groped them. The suspect has since pleaded for reprieve from the court due to ill health and has been remanded in custody at a Westville hospital. Meanwhile, as per court papers, more arrests are pending. Karinda Jagmohan, Eyewitness News, Durban.
Cold and windy conditions are expected to continue in Gauteng and other provinces today. Rain has been forecast for the Eastern Cape after heavy snowfall over the past couple of days. Forecaster Litlohonolo Tobela warns that snow is still visible in high-lying areas of the country.
One thing that you can note is that there is still snow visible in the high-lying areas of the Eastern Cape, into Lesotho, as well as into the extreme southern part of KwaZulu-Natal. So people should take caution as they drive through, because there may be some black ice which may result in traveling to be difficult.
And the World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus says the current Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo is on track to surpass the deadliest outbreak of the disease ever. He says the 2026 spread at its current pace will eclipse that of the 2014-2016, when at least 11,000 people died. The outbreak this year, declared on 15 May, has seen at least 4,300 cases and more than 2,000 people have died so far. He says that the organization hopes to reverse the spread of the disease within 3 months, but warns that this means bringing transmission under control, not ending the outbreak entirely. Gold is trading at $4,403.89 an ounce. The rand is at 16.15 to the dollar, 21.78 to the pound, 18.60 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $88.28 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the Mike 1 North between Boysons Road and the Crown Interchange. There's also queuing traffic leaving Eldorado Park. This is along the Golden Highway between Union Avenue and East Street.
And in your sport, Kaizer Chiefs' perfect start to the season continues with a 2-0 win over Sekhukhune, while Pirates were held 1-1 by AmaZulu. PSG beat Aston Villa 2-1 to retain the UEFA Super Cup. Banyana have to beat Nigeria tonight at 10 o'clock. And the All Blacks have been given an exemption by New Zealand Rugby to call up ineligible Richie Mo'unga for the greatest rivalry tour.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng, Johannesburg starting at 4 degrees, peaking at 14, Pretoria 6 and 18, Vereeniging 4 and 16 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, a senior IPID officer has raised questions about journalists who find out about alleged gunfire between police and suspects in KZN before the watchdog is informed.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Every promise, every ward, every word. Follow every moment of the local government elections on 702 Cape Talk and ewn.co.za.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes after 6 o'clock. Welcome to the program. My name indeed is Bongani Bingwa. On this Thursday, the 13th of August, the year of our Lord 2026, on our menu today, what does it mean to be in rooms, to sit at tables where people like you were previously excluded? What does it mean to stand on the shoulders of those who have come before? Is it enough just to be in the room, or do you walk in and say, I know what it's like to have the boot on my neck, and therefore I have a duty, I have a responsibility, I have a calling to remove it from the necks of others? Is Trump the anomaly of America, or is Trump the symbol of America? Cerebral conversation with Dr. Ismail Lagadin in the first hour of the show. Home Affairs says it's blown its budget for deporting undocumented nationals in this country, foreigners. Almost 300 million rand has been spent, and more, and counting. Where is the money going to come from? And to whom is it going? Where do we suddenly have extra capacity for all these other people to leave the country? It's not just about who's footing the bill, but who's benefiting. Do we suddenly have more bus companies that are traveling the region? Are there even South African bus companies that have taken the lion's share of that money? Let's talk.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
That's what's on our menu this morning. 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa is brought to you by BCX, helping South African organizations turn cloud, data and AI investments into faster decisions, smarter operations, and measurable business outcomes. Welcome to the program. I'm really keen to also tell you that just before 9 o'clock, we'll be talking to Chef Knox, who is coming into studio. I'm hoping she's got some nibbles. Muteo, Amo, I'm not going to have anything, not even a sweetie.
Why?
Until 10 to 9, because I'm going to be...
If she does bring some,
I will have plenty of room. For whatever.
We will be there.
and if Chef Knox is listening and wasn't planning to bring anything, hopefully, hint, hint. As you can hear, I'm not alone in the studio. Amuramila and Muteo Kharibe are my colleagues who are with me in the studio. And of course, we've got producers behind the scenes, from KG starting the clock, to Bapelile and Ropfiwa putting the show together, and Karabo here for our social media. Ketam Kize, of course, was the afternoon producer. Now, let's get straight into it. I've got a question for the two of you, Muteo and Amo. How are you with a stranger's touch, right? We all have boundaries when it comes to people who are not familiar to us, who are not friends or family, touching us. What is it you don't like about people you do not know touching your hair, your face, your shoulder? My mother used to struggle in her younger days, you know, in the taxi, when they tap your shoulder to pass the money, and she'd be wearing her white blouse and she'd have an issue. Hi man, and they would tell her to get her own car. What kind of physical contact with strangers makes you uncomfortable? Amu?
When we are in a queue and they stand too close towards, like right behind
Breathing
me.
down your neck.
Yeah, no, I have a problem with that. Hey, but if it's just like random hugs, if somebody says, "Oh, hey, Amo,"
you don't know me and you just hug
can
me?
I get a, yeah, maybe they know me from the station, they listen to the station, and they, you know, that I don't mind. But and the handshake, I don't have a problem with that. It's just the cues that make me, or when we're sitting down, let's say maybe it's at Home Affairs or whatever, and we're sitting in a queue or at a public clinic, and somebody sits right close to you, you know, without giving you room. I'm like, yeah, no, you need to.
That's
like
a problem.
Yeah.
Did you, by the way, fulfill your promise?
I did.
Touching taps
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram. Can I go look?
Yes, you
All right.
may.
Did you tag me?
No, I did.
So how am I going to know?
Because you follow me, you don't?
No, but I'm not necessarily on Instagram all
Every
night.
day.
Yes.
Okay. So I was supposed to tag you so that you would see.
So I get the notification.
Okay.
I don't get notified every time you post something.
It's there. Don't worry.
All right. I'm going to have a look at it. Yesterday, if you've just joined us, we were talking about hacks you swear by. Amo says if you touch a tap.
Rub.
Oh, is it rub now?
Yes, it's
It
rub.
was touch a
No,
tap.
she did say rub it.
You know, touch the TV. Touch the screen right now.
Oh, no, evangelist.
I thought she said if you just touch the tap, the
No,
garlic goes
you must
away.
Rub the garlic, the
No, I'm
tap.
just giving you a hard time. So she said she'd put that hack on Instagram to demonstrate exactly how it's meant to work. So I'll have a look at it just now. And of course, if you want to see it, your handle again, Amo?
At @Amo_Ramila.
Muteo, what are you uncomfortable in terms of the stranger's touch?
Two things. If we don't know each other, I can't hug you off the bat. Like, if we're greeting each other, let it be like, hey, how are you? Great to meet you. But some people insist on hugs at the very first time. You're a stranger to me.
But context matters, right? I mean, I would imagine if you were part of, I don't know, let's say Lobola negotiations.
Yes.
The other side, no? Not even there?
No, let's settle the thing first. We might not get along. A second one, which is a big problem for my wife, is the fact that I don't like being massaged or touched by people like that. We once went to like a hammam, like it's like a place where they bath you. And
this is in for context. You live in Turkey for
but we have to be
years.
in South Africa as well.
Oh, as well here. Okay.
And I struggle with that.
Yeah, no, I'm not big on that either.
Yeah, no, it's tough.
I can barely do a facial.
It's tough.
And sometimes, you know, it's your birthday and somebody says, "Oh, come for
yes,
these
and they
spa
got you a
treatments."
voucher and
I'm just like, send us a WhatsApp voice note 0727021702. I want to know from you what kind of physical contact with strangers makes you uncomfortable. We'll tell you why we're asking in just a moment, but it has something to do with one of the biggest breakthroughs in medicine.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
We have to all be concerned now about what's emerged at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry yesterday, particularly the idea that sometimes reporters, the media, finds out about gunfire exchanges between police and suspects even before the police watchdog IPID is informed. And so what typically happens, or what should happen, is if police officers need to respond to a scene where this kind of thing might happen, where gunfire might be exchanged, what should happen is that IPID, for example, ought to be notified so they know that the officers are handling themselves at the scene in the way they're supposed to. Often IPID finds out long after the scene is over. And I want you to listen to yesterday's testimony by the Independent Police Investigative Directorate. This is IPID, the KwaZulu-Natal Deputy Director, Len Barnes-John, speaking to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry yesterday, explaining that he suspects at times rogue police task teams may have even used cash-in-transit heists as covers to target and kill rival taxi operators on behalf of competing industry players.
Okay, Commissioner, I have another case here that I will discuss where you will see that connection.
It's fine. We're still at the Heberden one. Is there such a connection that IPID has? Because your statement doesn't do that. It requires one to read between the lines that this is what you're suggesting. In the Heberden case, have you made that kind of connection as IPID?
The only reason that I make the connection is that the task team did not have any information pertaining to cash in transit. There was no allegation, and they have not produced any information pertaining to cash in transit. However, we know that the deceased was involved in the taxi industry, and that is why we make that connection, is that because the same task team is involved in shooting other taxi owners.
So, insofar as it relates to the Hibadin matter, you're saying that is the theory
That's correct.
Of IPID.
That's correct.
And you say the basis for that theory is because you have other cases where you will show that this task team has in fact done the bidding of a rival taxi group against another.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
How worrying is that? How worrying is that this is an exchange between one of the commissioners, Advocate Sesi Baloyi, speaking to the KwaZulu-Natal Deputy Director of IPID, Len Barnes-John, who went on to talk about how these police task teams in KZN also have links to rival taxi operators, not just industry players in terms of cash in transit heists.
You connecting without saying so, and maybe if that's what you want to say in detail, you should speak to it. On the face of it, you are creating a connection between rival taxi owners that you say had threatened this person. You're creating a connection between those and the task team. Effectively, what you're saying is the task team, in this case, according to IPID, appears to have been doing work or did the killing on behalf of the rival taxi people that threatened and caused this man to go into hiding. Is that what you're saying? And is it based on any investigation, facts, if you like, of that IPID has carried out? Because it's one thing to say this is what we suspect, and you have no control over how it gets understood to mean you have created that connection, as a matter of fact. And if that's what you're doing, saying you've created a connection as a matter of fact, I think you should say so. Otherwise, if it is a theory and nothing more, I think that should come out clearly.
That's what we heard from the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry yesterday.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
It's 19 minutes after 6 o'clock. Muteo Kharipa, you've got a question of your own?
Yeah, this one is going to need a little bit of honesty from all of us, but I'd like to ask this question this morning. Shopping online is no longer a novel thing, right? In South Africa, a lot of people do it on their phones as well. Does that mean that you now shop for most of your groceries online? Or are you a person that still likes to have a list, get in the store, stand in the queue, compare the prices, and swipe your value card before getting your groceries?
I'm going to can I give a politician's answer? and simply to say that I shop for most of my groceries at the store, but I shop more often online. So in other words, what typically happens is my online delivery shopping is a few items here and there when I realize I've run out of this or I've run out of that. But there are things that I prefer to still go and pick myself. I want to choose my own vegetables. I want to choose my own meat, for example.
Yeah.
But, Sunlight Liquid, Handy Andy, Fanta Orange is a Fanta Orange. Those I can get online.
Amu?
If only and only I can't go to the store. That's the only time I'll ever use my online apps. Otherwise, I insist, even if it's for the handy Andy,
Why?
I'd rather go to the shop. Because
Why?
sometimes it's also like I need a walk in the middle of the day. I feel like walking, I'll walk to the store.
So you walk.
If I feel like I also just want to look, shop at other stores as well, like, browse through things, I do that as well. So
Can someone explain to me the fascination of going to go browse? You're not going to buy.
yeah.
You just want to go see.
Yes, I'm looking at the prices. I'm looking at the things that I might want to be.
One day.
I might be interested in buying.
day.
One day, yes. And I want to see the quality. And I also want to see some of the things, man. So, yeah.
In this weather.
So, in this weather.
Your window shopping at Checkers.
With a scarf and a hat.
Go window shopping at Checkers. I'll pick and pay.
702.
Weather.
21 minutes after 6 o'clock. All in good jest and good fun. A cloudy day in store for Gauteng. Temperatures climbing steadily higher. 14 degrees is your maximum in Joburg today. It's 18 in Pretoria. Vereeniging in Bombela, 16 degrees. Polokwane, 17. Mahikeng, 18. Bloemfontein, 15. Durban, partly cloudy. 21, though, is your high despite the isolated showers and rain that is expected. Gqeberha and East London, 20 degrees. A fine day for Cape Town, a lovely 27 in the mother city.
EWN Traffic.
Well, let's have a first look at the roads. 22 after 6. What are you seeing?
Well, Bongani, if you are leaving Soweto through the Klipspruit Valley Road via Orlando, do expect heavy delays. We've got an accident there right at the Soweto Highway turnoff. It's causing delays. Please try to use the November 1 North instead or the Mike 1 North, although we do have delays there between Boysons and the Car Street exit. And then in the city of Tshwane, some issues on the R80 East as you approach Skiampahlele. This is due to the peak time delays there. And we'll have more updates, but if you come across anything else, we are on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Scholar Transport drivers, every winter morning, our children depend on you to get them to school safely. But overloaded vehicles and rushing against time puts lives at risk. Remember, our children are not cargo. Overloading reduces your ability to stop on wet or icy roads. Drive responsibly, arrive safely, protect every child, every trip. This message is brought to you by the National Department of Transport.
So the other day I get this call from an insurance company. The lady asked me if I'm comfortable with my excess. I said, excess? Well, according to my therapist, I'm apparently a little too comfortable. But sometimes you just need to make sure. You know what I mean? She just put down the phone. I don't get it.
Don't get that insurance. Get Pineapple. It's easy to get and online. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. T's and C's apply.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa is brought to you by BCX. Built on trusted telecom business connectivity. Powered by cloud, strengthened by security, enabled by AI.
Good morning, 702. Me not comfortable with a stranger talking to me and touching me. I feel very, very uncomfortable with somebody that I don't know talking to me and start touching me and telling it's his or her story, start touching me. No, I don't like that.
Morning, Bongani in the gym. Yo, nabatong 2010 ang off ko shake amatsoha banna mosebetsing and I work with men. I don't like shaking hands. Handshakes. Yo.
Do you remember, is it Roseanne Barr, the actress and former talk show host? One of the things she was famous for is not liking to shake hands, which of course is a bit of an awkward thing if you're a talk show host, because how do you welcome your guests to your show without touching their hands? We're asking you, what makes you uncomfortable about a stranger's touch?
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
24 minutes after 6 o'clock, things you need to know at this hour. Well, firstly, let's start at the White House in Washington. A major change is coming to Donald Trump's White House. Their communications team announcing that his press secretary, Carolyn Levitt, will leave the role at the end of August. Levitt, who at 28 is the youngest person to ever hold the job, recently returned from maternity leave, but says she's decided she cannot give her two young children the time they deserve, whilst also meeting the demands of being the White House press secretary. On social media yesterday, Trump called her one of his most trusted aides and said she would remain one of his top advisors. After more than 4 years in Russian detention, a former U.S. Marine is finally back home. Robert Gilman has returned to the United States after Russia released him on humanitarian grounds. President Donald Trump says he secured Gilman's release after discussions with the Russian President Vladimir Putin, with no prisoner exchange involved. Gilman had been in serious ill health and his family feared he could die in custody. Adam Gilchrist will give us more details in the Worldview on that story. Now, again, I've been asking the question, what kind of physical contact with strangers makes you uncomfortable? Listen to this. And interestingly, of course, the source of it was discomfort with getting too close to a stranger. and that helped inspire one of medicine's most familiar inventions. In the year 1816, and I may muck his name up in terms of how I say it, but the French doctor Renaud Théophile Hyacinthe Laennec wanted to hear a woman's heartbeat, but he felt too uncomfortable putting his ear directly on her chest because, as you would imagine, she would have had to have her clothes removed for him to do so. So he rolled a sheet of paper into a tube and he heard the heartbeat through it. And that is how the mighty stethoscope was born. Laennec died on this day in 1826 at just the tender age of 45. But that little moment of him being uncomfortable with putting his face, quite frankly, his ear to a woman's chest, a strange woman's chest, led to the invention of the stethoscope, and the rest was history. A blues classic born long before Elvis, the king of rock and roll, ever got his hands on it. In 1952, on this day, Big Mama Thornton recorded the original version of Hound Dog in Los Angeles. The song became her biggest hit, spending 7 weeks at #1 on the US R&B chart. Some years later, Elvis Presley recorded his own version and turned it into one of the most recognizable rock and roll songs ever. One of those where you prefer the original, or did the cover version improve the song? Big Mama Thornton's version, you can hear the soul. Yes.
702.
The newspapers.
He's not a hound dog, but he's certainly got a nose for the news. Sifiso Zulu, good morning.
Bongani, good morning. Interesting story this morning. So it is about a former official who worked for a major anti-hate organization in the US. She's been arrested for fraud. Now, this organization is basically against white supremacy. It does work around that. And what is this woman accused of? She's accused of stealing money donated to that organization and sending it to her lover, who was part of a supremacist group.
You lie.
I tell you, she said this is a whole of a political
She
ploy
knew?
against- She knew. This is her lover. And this has been happening since 2007. Over $1 million has been stolen and funneled to this guy.
So she is an anti-supremacist. Oh, my word.
She works for an anti-supremacist organization. She's in a relationship with a guy who's part of a supremacist group, and she's stealing money from this organization.
Funneling it to him.
And then sending it to her lover.
It really does raise the question of how much do we ask about those around us? Because the front page of the Business Day says SARS is targeting the mother of Morgan Maumela. You remember he, of course, of the Lamborghinis that were seized of his property. She used to be a high-ranking official in the health department in Limpopo, but recent reports from News 24, for example, suggest she splurged on 30 million rand. She splurged 30 million rand on 2 luxury apartments in Sea Point, and now the Revenue Service says, hang on a minute, what have you not been telling us about the income you've been getting? Where would you, as a health official in a department, have 30 million rand to splurge on 2 apartments? But also the task team in KZN, the allegations we heard, of course, at the Madlanga Commission. Listen to this, right? Because what we're hearing is that in some cases, this task team had become tools for drug dealers and gang members to kill rivals in turf wars. This was the evidence we heard from the Deputy Investigation Director of IPID in KZN yesterday, who says, for example, in one case, one Lieutenant Dina Govender and his wife made cash deposits to buy a property worth 2.5 million rand months after the killing of a man linked to a tow truck company, who, after it was understood that after the operation, there'd been a 2.5 million rand bounty on this man's head. And police officers are paying those kinds of amounts in deposits for their homes. We really ought to worry.
EWN Business.
At the shop, or at home? Mateo wants to know, where do you prefer to do your shopping?
I'm asking that question, Bongani, because ShopRite's online delivery army, they literally are an army, aren't they? Checkers 6060 has become a nightmare for the rest of the retail sector. 6060's annual sales surged by 35% to reach 25.5 billion rand for the year to end June. The on-demand platform now accounts for roughly 10% of total revenue for parent company ShopRite. For a bigger perspective, though, 6060's annual turnover equals more than a third of Pick n Pay's entire South African store sales and is roughly 40% the size of Woolworths Foods' total sales.
What?
Yeah, a nightmare.
Hold on. 6060 sells 40% of what Woolies does.
Yeah, in food sales.
And a third of Pick n Pay's.
Yeah,
just the delivery.
Yeah, just the delivery arm.
And they've got Dash and ASAP.
Yeah, who are also trying to compete, but it's quite tough. And when it comes to customer value, ShopRite reports that customers using 6060 are like gold to them, saying they are nearly 4 times more valuable than purely in-store shoppers, backed by an 85% retention rate after a customer's first order. So every time you're opening the app on your phone, ShopRite sees it as an in-store visit. Checkers 6060 holds an estimated more than 80% market share of the on-demand grocery delivery sector in South Africa, functioning as the dominant market leader, well ahead of competitors like Woolies Dash, Pick n Pay ASAP, and Spar to You. The ShopRite Group utilizes a total active network of nearly 9,000 delivery drivers for its Checkers 6060 service across South Africa. While an exact live count of bikes on the road at any given second is not publicly disclosed, you do see them everywhere.
Everywhere you go. I mean, wow. That is just absolutely phenomenal. Where's the rand?
At 16 rand 15 cents against the US dollar, 18 rand 61 cents against the euro, and 21 rand 79 cents against the British pound. Price of gold lower this morning, $4,393 an ounce, while platinum is down 0.5% at $1,751. Brent crude at $88.52 a barrel. More business after 7.
Straight to the news desk we go. Swiss Zulu, what do you have?
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. SASSA's efforts to cut long queues and improve service delivery are set to face a first-hand test today when Social Development Minister Dina Pule visits 2 offices in the Western Cape. She is expected to speak to beneficiaries and officials about challenges with accessing social grants. There have been complaints recently of long waiting times, overcrowding, and even alleged queue selling. Ntutuzelo Nene reports.
SASSA officials in the Western Cape say they have introduced measures to improve client flow at most offices. These include digital queue management, biometric self-service systems, additional queue marshals, and pre-screening. At selected offices, including Belleville, staff also conduct document checks and initial assessments before clients reach service counters. Minister Pule says she wants to see for herself whether these measures are making a difference. She says beneficiaries deserve efficient and dignified services and that long queues cannot be a permanent feature of accessing social protection. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
Protesting CPUT students have submitted a second memorandum to the university's management about their concerns. The protests were sparked by grievances related to students' finances, historical debts, and new admission fees. The SRC claims the university management failed to respond to their first memorandum. CPUT spokesperson Lauren Kensley says the institution is taking the concerns seriously.
The CPUT executive management availed themselves to receive the memorandum of grievances from students who have been staging various protest actions across our campuses.
Prosecutors are intensifying their challenge to one of the accused in the trial of alleged underworld gang boss Nafees Modak. Taufik Brown's version of events related to the attempted murder of attorney William Booth has been scrutinized. The prosecution team yesterday argued Brown's account doesn't add up after he denied having knowledge of the plot to kill Booth. Brown's wife previously entered into a plea deal when she admitted that she played a role in the shooting. Brown is one of 14 accused standing trial alongside Modak on murder, racketeering, fraud and money laundering charges. Carlo Peterson reports.
Taufik Brown remained resolute Resolute under cross-examination yesterday as prosecutors questioned his claims about the 2020 attack on William Booth. Brown's wife, Kota Brown, previously admitted the instructions to kill Booth came from the leader of the terrible Westsiders gang who was in prison at the time. While she did not name her husband in the plea agreement, State Prosecutor Blaine Lazarus put it to Brown that the description refers to him. Brown maintains he's not the gang's leader and was not involved in plotting the attack on Booth. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And Colombia's earthquake rescue efforts have entered what officials are now calling the final phase. Local authorities say the magnitude 7.4 quake, the strongest to hit Colombia this century, has killed 265 people, injured more than 3,500 and left almost 500 missing. In the city of Pereira, crews focus on a collapsed bakery where they believe a street hawker trapped since Monday's earthquake may still be alive beneath the rubble. Crews are approaching 72 hours since the quake, a period when survivors are considered most likely to be found alive beneath collapsed building. A cloudy day in store for Gauteng today. The temperatures are at lows of 4 and 6 degrees, peaking at highs between 14 and 18.
And in the traffic, we've got delays in Soweto, Orlando, right along Klipswood Valley Road. An accident reported near the Soweto Highway Circle causing delays. There's also queuing traffic reported on the M1 North between Boysons and Carr Street.
The top story this hour, SASSA's efforts to cut long queues and improve service delivery are set to face a first-hand test today.
You hear that? That's the sound of business execution finally visible. No more chasing people and reports. No more disconnected systems. No more guessing if our business is performing or not. iStratGo connects strategy, people, performance, and day-to-day work into one clear software platform, so leaders can see what's working, what's not, and where to focus. Because when execution is visible, everything runs better. Book a demo on iStratGo.com. iStratGo.com.
Your business needs that new practice management software, but do you have the cash to fund it? Before you compromise on the core items your business needs, have you looked at saving on your business insurance? Switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. For law firms, real estate agencies, computer services, and all other businesses, visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. OUTsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
This is 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, brought to you by BCX. Built on trusted connectivity, powered by cloud, strengthened by security, enabled by AI.
Morning team, morning Das, morning Bongs, morning everyone. I agree with Amo, but for me it's worse because of I've never done online shopping in my entire life. So I think I'm still an old school. I'd rather get in my car, go to the shop and buy. I've never ever done online shopping. I don't want to lie. And I don't think I will ever do it. Because of sometimes you just hear people say, hey, they've scammed me. Hey, I've never experienced that. Or it's because of I'm not good in this thing of technology or social media things. Even at work, they know I'm on WhatsApp. That's it. I don't have TikTok. I don't have nothing. I don't have Facebook. I don't have Instagram. I don't have nothing. So maybe it's just because of that.
Morning, Bongani and the team. The reason I shop so much, I don't like online shop because I don't want to look like Oros. Because I don't want to be sitting there on the couch and pressing the buttons all the time. I like taking walks like Amo. Even if I have to go and buy one thing, take out my car, go and do shopping, shop for that one thing. Svelinka from Spooky, thank you.
I'm with Bongani. I've learned the hard way to select my own vegetables and meat. I've received too many packets that's ripped open, rotten fruit, etc. That's just thrown in a bag. But I do shop 90%, 95% online. However, you get carried away and that delivery fee gets a bit much. So I have consciously made a point of ordering only maybe 2 or 3 times a month in larger quantities so that I don't order twice a week or sometimes even more. So it does require discipline. I do check. I shop with the big guys that everybody knows about. Their prices are very, very competitive most of the time. Sometimes I do check. But yeah, 95% online. The big thing is the expectation that you have to pay a delivery fee and a tip. I no longer tip because I expect those guys to earn a salary. But yeah, I order online.
We're asking you, do you prefer doing your shopping online or in person at the shops? Or is it a bit of both, a bit of hybrid? I got to tell you, the convenience. There's nothing like being in the middle of cooking something and you can't leave your pots and you realize you just need that one little ingredient. And then the convenience of having it delivered at your door 20 minutes later is absolutely magic.
EWN Sport.
Cindy Paluta, are you an online shopper or do you prefer going into the store yourself?
I would say both. So I have a system, and then on the 24th of the month, I put my whole grocery list together, and I put it into all the delivery services. Whoever's cheaper, each product
Gets the business.
Yes. So let's say, for example, you've got a Domestos special, then I'll put that into that basket, because that's going to save me having to go to 3 different retailers on the same day. Like, I understand you're paying the 30 for the delivery, but the 90 Rand delivery in terms of my time that it's going to take me to go to the shop, select that item, put it in my trolley and go. That's where I use the online. Every now and then, maybe once a week, I will, if the, like that lady said, if the list is long enough, then I will use a delivery service. But I won't use it for like 1 or 2 items ever. No.
Oh, okay.
No. But I am very fortunate in that I do live very close to the shops.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes I do walk, like the guy said. That one guy said, it's just so nice to feel the sun on your face and just get the air and all of that. But I don't think if I lived that close, I would be so quick to get into the car.
All right, talking about close or at least good starts, tell us more about Kaizer Chiefs.
You tell me. Tell me about Kaizer Chiefs.
Well, I mean, it's been a perfect start to their season.
Yes, the fans would love to hear from you this morning, Kaizer Chiefs fans. It must have been freezing last night. They deserve to win. It's such a cold stadium. Their perfect start to the Betway Premiership continues. They beat Sekhukhune 2-0. It's 2 wins from 2 second half goals from Bartman and Shabalala. While the defending champions Orlando Pirates, what happened there? Do you want to tell the listeners?
1-1.
1-1 to AmaZulu.
Yitro.
Amo came to work this morning and she said, "Oh, Orlando Pirates looked so good last night and their kids, it looked so nice." I said, "Oh, you sound happy. Did they win?" She said, "No, we drew." Anyway, Pirates had the lead in the opening 7 minutes before Ngwenya equalised the penalty. Milford got their first win of the season. They beat Suelele 1-0. It was goalless as well for Durban City and Golden Arrows. PSG have defended their UEFA Super Cup title. They got a 2-1 win over Aston Villa. Kvaratskhelia and Doa scoring, but Doa's winning goal was initially not given for offside. VAR then overturned that. Villa's goal was scored by their 17-year-old Brian Maggio. He was playing on his debut. Banyana under huge pressure tonight. They're playing Africa's top side, Nigeria, in a World Cup qualification match. Striker Hilda Magaya.
We are lucky. We are lucky that we got another chance to fulfill our goal, of which is qualifying for the World Cup. We didn't get what we wanted. We didn't qualify automatically, but as we have a chance now, I think as a team, we are looking forward to it. We are going to give our all out there.
Kickoff tonight is 10 p.m. at WAFCON. Cameroon will play Malawi in Sunday's final. Malawi, on their debut at WAFCON, beat Algeria 3-1. The Shoenga sisters scoring the goals. Cameroon beat the hosts Morocco on penalties after a goalless game. The All Blacks have called up Richie Mo'unga. He arrives in South Africa soon. Coach Dave Rennie was cleared to recall him, who he last played for the All Blacks in 2023. New Zealand Rugby requires players to be under contract with a domestic team to be eligible for the national side. An exemption was granted for Mo'unga, who was ineligible to play until October this year because of his 18-month contract with a Japanese club. And live test cricket in Darwin, where the hosts Australia elected to bat against Bangladesh. They're 154 for 6 on day 1 of the first test. Steve Smith is there on 48. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
As a business owner, you're always looking for ways to save money. But have you looked at saving on your business insurance premium? With Outsurance Business Insurance, you could save big, like Bosmansdam High School.
We were with our previous insurance for 10 years plus before switching to Outsurance Business Insurance.
We are saving 3,705 Rand per month.
It was so quick and easy, we should have switched sooner.
Ready to switch and save? Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
The world of business is changing. Are you ready to lead beyond borders? The Witskedge MBA in Global Executive Leadership connects African insight with European expertise. It's designed for executives, senior managers, entrepreneurs, and public sector leaders. A 17-month blended program that combines online learning with immersive in-person sessions in Johannesburg and Paris. Develop the strategic judgment, vision, and global perspective required to lead through complexity. Applications are now open. Visit wbs.ac.za to explore the Witskedge Global Executive Leadership MBA.
Everything you need to know about the local government elections is on 702 Cape Talk and EWN.co.za. Because this is more than local. It's personal.
Coming up in the next hour, what's the question? Brought to you by Outsurance. 3,000 Rand in cash is up for grabs. We'll give you 1,000 Rand for the answer. You simply WhatsApp us your name and the answer to 072 702 1702. It's based on anything that you would have heard on the show that piqued your interest. Then someone else will ask a question to get your answer and they'll win 2,000 Rand. SMS out to 45142 now and you could save on your car insurance.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz.
On 702.
Hello, my name is Khotso. I am 10 years old. I go to Roseneath Primary School. When I grow up, I want to be a chef. I am so excited to play the Whiz Quiz with Uncle Bongani.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
EWN Traffic.
Oh, how nunus does Khotso sound, Harry? Amo? Oh, my word. We'll get to Khotso in just a moment. This EWN Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. And you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask them for 500 Rand. Slow traffic on the November 1 North. Amo, what's going on?
That's correct, Bongani. That's due to peak time delays really between Malibongwe Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive. And then if you are traveling on the N1 South, do you expect some delays as well approaching Winnie Mandela Drive? This is due to a car stuck on the road. If you are heading towards the city of Tshwane, more delays on the N1 North coming out of the Baklu interchange due to a car stuck on the road in the left lane. Please approach with care, especially if you're coming out of Rivonia Road. I'll have more updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Things people stress about in traffic. Number 48. Did I upload the updated version of the presentation? Oh, the anxiety. Well, with the Outsurance Pointsman on your route, at least the traffic is one less thing to stress about. The Outsurance Pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Looking for your next car, from affordable to fuel efficient or just spacious, WeBuyCars has the right car for you. Browse over 15,000 vehicles on webuycars.co.za or visit one of their 20 branches nationwide. Plus, they offer finance solutions, insurance, warranties, more for total peace of mind. Thinking of selling your car? Get an instant offer on webuycars.co.za.
That's Sia before he got naked. Sia had a bumper bash and had to reattach his fender using duct tape and a prayer. So Sia got naked. He got comprehensive car insurance in seconds and can now submit claims instantly on the Naked app. No more arts and crafts for you, Sia. Cover your car and home now at naked.insure and see how easy insurance can be when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
He sounds Nunu's and he wants to be a chef and joins us now to play the Whiz Quiz. Khotso is 10 years old, goes to Roseneath Primary School. Khotso, how are you feeling this morning? You feeling good?
I'm feeling very good.
You're feeling very good. All right, let's see if you'll also play very good. KG, start the clock. Which planet is closest to the sun? Is it Mercury or is it Venus?
Mercury.
Correct. In movies, what animal is the main character in Pepper's Cinema Party?
Pass.
It's a pig.
I don't know the movie.
Does the word zeal mean laziness or enthusiasm?
Enthusiasm.
Correct. True or false? A group of fish is called a school?
True.
Correct. How many letters are there in the alphabet?
26.
Correct. What color is a stop sign?
Red.
And white. Red and white. In maths, what is 7 times 2?
7 times 2. Pass.
14. True or false? The Western Cape borders only 2 other provinces.
True.
It is true. It is true. I think you might kick yourself for the Pepper one. Pepper the pig? Peppa Pig? Pepper's Cinema Party. The animal there is a pig. And of course, the stop sign is red, but it is also white. And 7 times 2 is 14. Khotso, still not a bad round. You walk away with 6 correct answers, and that means you win 600 Rand. Khotso is 10 years old. Remember, to play the Whiz Quiz, you simply go to Prime Media Plus and tell us your name, your age, and why you want to play, and we could be calling you.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Good morning, Bongani and the team. I am one of those retained customers from Checkers 60 because it's just such an awesome service. And then for me, online shopping helps me actually be disciplined because as you add items, you can see the total there at the bottom and then you pick out things that you don't really need. I normally just stick to what I need when I'm shopping online, as opposed to when I go to the physical store, then I'll just take unnecessary things and get the shock of my life at the end of it by the till. And I love Checkers. When it comes to the other ones, with Pick and Pay, you get your order tomorrow morning or in the next 7 business working days.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions.
Your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
So today we want to talk about something a little different. We've all watched this Trump White House and its ongoing issues, whether domestically or even internationally. But here's a question. What if Donald Trump isn't the problem, but perhaps a symptom of the problem? I want to go to this issue in an indirect way. I want you to have a listen now to the great American writer Ta-Nehisi Coates recently on a podcast speaking to Hassan Minay, talking about how those who benefited from the civil rights movement could have changed the status quo, but themselves had to fall in line. And I suppose then the question is, if they didn't buck the trend, why would we expect Donald Trump to? Have a listen.
We had Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice, Barack Obama, Susan Rice, and then Kamala Harris, Linda Thomas Greenfield. What you're seeing is a list of African Americans who actually only exist in those spaces because of the Black freedom struggle itself. That's the whole reason they're there, right? None of them would be there if not for the sacrifices of Martin Luther King, if not for the sacrifices of Coretta Scott King, if not for the sacrifices of Fannie Lou Hamer. What did they say we were supposed to do? Who did they imagine us being once we got into those roles? And I don't think they imagined us. In fact, I know because they said it, as people that would justify dropping bombs on people who are weaker than us. I can tell you what the struggle means to me. Sure. And the struggle means to me not just that we would get the boot off of our necks, but that we would destroy the boot, that this would not happen to other people. And I don't think I'm out on a limb on that. Like, I think that's always been the content of our struggle has always been that it's been bigger than us. That's been the fact of it. You know, it is not the case that the civil rights movement just benefited Black Americans themselves. It is not the case that Dr. Martin Luther King, you know, when he saw what was going on in Vietnam, said, well, I just need to shut up and just, you know, make sure my people were okay.
In his latest column, our next guest, Dr. Ismail Lagadin, argues that perhaps Trump is not the problem, but rather American power is. And he says we risk becoming so consumed by Trump's personality, rhetoric, and unpredictability that we may miss the bigger story, the long history of American power and its impact around the world. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. I thought your piece and this particular thought by Ta-Nehisi Coates were quite linked in the sense that Trump is really only a symbol of what's wrong with America rather than the main issue.
That's correct. Thanks for having me. Yes, it's absolutely true. I didn't look at that. I didn't watch that Ta-Nehisi Coates interview, but he's right. The only difference I have is that he rooted very much in sort of the United States civil rights movement and African American people. I speak as an African. We're abroad and we're often the victims of these interventions. But the point I was trying to make is that, we say, for example, Donald Trump is the problem or Benjamin Netanyahu is the problem, as if when you remove these people, things will change. It will not change. The history of the United States especially has shown that presidents have come and gone, and they've always continued on this their quest. It goes back to the idea, two ideas here. One is the expression that the United States is not a country, it's an idea. It's not a country, it's a cause. So they believe they have this divine right to go and spread their values and their ideas abroad. And they do so invariably by military force. They also do it with what we call soft power. And that soft power is anything from the Peace Corps to the National Endowment for Democracy. And, they've sold us. Very many of us have, growing up in Soweto, we all think, used to think, oh, we all want to go to America.
Yeah.
America's great to wear American clothing. So we were saturated with this idea of the United States. But we tend to romanticize then and forget about the violence and the structural and the somatic violence that the United States inflicts on the world. If
I may come in there, Dr. Lagadin, I think for me the intersection is precisely that, the buying of the lemon. In other words, this idea that there are even benign sides to what America has represented around the world. And so if you look at people who are beneficiaries of the civil rights movement, one would then assume, or at least think, that they would perhaps show a different hand when they were in power, and yet when they were in those rooms, they were making the same decisions. One of your strong arguments is also around the control of natural resources, and that the people who often find themselves really facing the ire of Washington, in some cases, actually has nothing to do with ideology.
There are these internet memes where, of an eagle arriving in Rwanda or somewhere, and it says, Rwanda has discovered oil. We can expect the United States to bring freedom to Rwanda. And, I'm using Rwanda as an example. And this is the point is, they go where there are natural resources and they frame it. They frame it in these terms like, they will invade your country, settle your country, establish military bases and things and a military presence. And then when you complain or when you resist, they say, well, we bring jobs. Or, and then it goes to the extreme. They say, you're a terrorist or you hate freedom. So they use language and they manipulate us into thinking that they're a force for good when they really are a force for accumulating profits for their corporations and establishing a presence around the world.
How much has, though, specifically now, the Trump administration endangered America? I mean, just the image of him recently hiding in a catering truck says almost everything you need to know, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, but we are often some people are often surprised when these things happen. I'm not surprised by it. The United States assassinated the leader of Iran, whether we agree with Iran or not. So now they make a big deal that Iran wants to allegedly target the U.S. president. But there's no difference. It's what they're doing. The United States has assassinated political leaders or has overthrown political leaders around the world for, let's say, 70 years. So in that sense, there's nothing new about it. The other part of it is we're dramatizing this, but we're forgetting that they left the journalists on the plane and some of his
advisors,
cabinet members.
yeah.
So the point is, these are dispensable people, and this is what the United States has done really well. They've created this idea that there are people who can be dispensed with, whether it's Africans or Asians. And the point I make in that column in Business Day also was that Madeleine Albright said that 500,000 deaths were worth it. Now, what gives them the right to establish this moral justification for some deaths? Some people can just die. And one of the things that I didn't, I can't write about this in a 800-word column, but several years ago, a decade ago, I wrote 2 or 3 pieces about Obama. And one of the things that we did is because we are black and he's a black man, we think, oh, great savior. But he did absolutely nothing. He continued, U.S. policies. He had these targeted assassinations abroad, people in Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia. These are all brown-skinned people, black people that he's assassinating abroad. So he didn't bring much change.
Yeah, the cluster bombs on Yemen. Policy. And that's why I wanted to start. That's why I wanted to start this interview with that quote from Ta-Nehisi Coates. Appreciate your time, though, for joining us this morning, Dr. Ismail Lagadin.
7:02. Coming up, the big interview.
Big Interview focuses on the Department of Home Affairs' claim that nearly 300 million rand has been spent deporting foreign nationals. But where is that money going to? And are we solving the migration crisis, or are we simply giving people a free ride who will soon return?
This is EWN.
The Madlanga Commission will stick to its new stream after hearing of rogue police elements, and MPs argue about South Africa's support for Cuba. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry is set to continue hearing evidence on alleged hit squads operating in KwaZulu-Natal. The commission turned its focus yesterday to the alleged criminal infiltration of the police in the province. It also heard that some officers appear to be vulnerable to being used by criminal elements. Alfara Mushwana has more.
The testimony of IPID Deputy Director of Investigations, Len John, who testified at the Madlanga Commission yesterday, focused extensively on alleged extrajudicial killings by the KZN Police CIT task team. A key concern was that the task team killed several people who couldn't even be linked to the CIT robberies they were accused of being involved in. John says even the claim that suspects fired at KZN Police first does not appear to be entirely true.
In some cases, they cannot even give you the names of the deceased that they shot. So with our investigation, we believe that the police are not doing proper investigation to arrest the suspects. We can look from the examples that we have that they go out to kill the person. That is why we indicate that it's extrajudicial killings.
KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has repeatedly warned his officers not to allow themselves to be killed by criminals while carrying firearms. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
A Durban businessman accused of leading a human trafficking syndicate is set to spend the next 2 weeks in hospital under police watch due to his apparent medical conditions. The 65-year-old appeared in the Durban Magistrates Court yesterday, where his matter was postponed to the 25th of August. The court banned the publishing of his name pending his plea to a sexual assault charge, but EWN has seen court papers describing him as the boss of the syndicates, which operated from a Durban North mansion. Karinda Jagmohan has the story.
The white paint on the high walls of the Sterling Crescent mansion in Durban North is now peeling off, although there are signs of occupants still inside. 4 years ago, the Hawks surrounded the place as they rescued 5 women who'd been lured here from Eldorado Park in Johannesburg. The women had been promised jobs at call centers or at casinos selling SIM cards, but were locked inside the house and forced into prostitution and pornography. In one incident, 2 women were made to dress in lingerie and perform for the suspect called the boss, who allegedly groped them. The suspect has since pleaded for reprieve from the court due to ill health and has been remanded in custody at a Westville hospital. Meanwhile, as per court papers, more arrests are pending. Karinda Jagmohan, Eyewitness News, Durban.
Gauteng police are confident they have a strong case against the man accused of killing 4 people in Reiche Park, saying he may not have acted alone. 4 people, including 2 police officers, were killed in the area last Friday. 23-year-old Regan Collis, who has been described by police as a notorious gangster, has been linked to the attacks. He appeared for the first time in the Boksburg Magistrates Court yesterday. Koskona Malingam Nisi was there.
Collis faces 4 counts of murder and 1 of attempted murder. He has also been charged with robbery with aggravating circumstances and the possession of an unlicensed firearm and ammunition. Police have confirmed they are not simply looking at Collis. Investigators believe others may have been involved in carrying out the attack and are following leads that could open the door to further arrests. This was confirmed by the state prosecutor in court.
Your Worship, the state has provided what we call a provisional charge sheet, which is attached to the J15. That is provisional in the sense that investigations are still ongoing. There is a possibility of charges being added and or other accused being added to the proceedings.
It also emerged that Collis is no stranger to the criminal justice system. He is currently facing 5 other matters, including murder and hijacking charges. The matter was postponed for bail purposes to August 25th. Or see Kona Malingam Nisi, Eyewitness News.
And political parties in Parliament have largely supported Cuba's call for South Africa to mobilize international support for US-imposed sanctions to be lifted against it. But the DA yesterday walked out of a meeting of Parliament's International Relations Committee at which the Cuban ambassador made the appeal. The party says South Africa's partnership with Cuba has yielded little benefits, and the EFF says government should back the Cubans at all costs, even if it means the US considered sanctions against South Africa. Lindsay Dentlinga reports.
EFF MP Kobile Mhlongo says South Africa must continue its trade and education partnerships with Cuba and not feel threatened by US pressures. She appealed to government to help get fuel to the country.
We are inspired by the people of Cuba to never give in to the lunatics of the US and to continue the fight.
She was backed by the MKP's Wesley Douglas, who said the US blockade is a crime against humanity. And the Department of International Relations, through its African Renaissance Fund, should speed up financial support to Cuba. But the DA's Ryan Smith said the committee had turned the meeting into a political conference and instead should be re-evaluating its trade partnerships with Cuba.
South Africa's exports to Cuba makes up a mere 0.3%. which is negligible and doesn't necessarily bring any economic benefits to the Republic.
He then left the meeting. Committee Chairperson Supra Mahuma Pelo, however, said ideally a loan to Cuba from the African Renaissance Fund should be written off, but the GNU would not allow it. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Gold is trading at $4,397.46 an ounce. The rand is at 16.15 to the dollar, 21.79 to the pound, 18.61 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $88.78 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got an accident on the N1 South in the Fourways. So this is right near Winnie Mandela Drive. It's causing delays coming out of Rivonia Road. There's also queuing traffic reported in Rand Park Ridge. This is along Beyers Nadia Drive, just as you approach Jim Foucher Road. That's due to an accident.
And in your sport, Kaizer Chiefs top the premiership table after last night's 2-0 win over Seka Kone, while Pirates were held 1-0 by Amazulu. Tonight, Banyana battle Nigeria in a World Cup qualifier at 10 p.m. And the All Blacks given an exemption to call up Richie Mayonga for the greatest rivalry tour.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 16 and 18 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry is set to continue hearing evidence on alleged hit squads operating in KwaZulu-Natal.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're listening to 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, brought to you by BCX, technology that helps organizations move forward.
Your rates, your services, your reality. Follow the local government elections on 702 Cape Talk and ewn.co.za.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
The idea that we heard at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry yesterday that police task teams in KZN could potentially be involved in turf wars between gangs of drug dealers and even taxi organizations. I mean, this example of one task team commander who, alongside his wife, made cash deposits to buy a property worth 2.5 million rand before and after the killing of an individual linked to a tow truck company, when in fact it then emerged that a hit of 2.5 million rand was allegedly ordered by a competitor in the same business, tells you just how much we ought to worry. And this now goes to the other side of the allegations we heard a year ago from Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. But I tell you what, somebody else who was under the cosh was the Higher Education Minister, Bhuti Manamela, in Parliament. I want you to listen now as he was being held accountable when it comes to NSFAS. We know NSFAS has been placed under administration. The administrator has asked for advisors, but the legislation is clear that those advisors need to be approved with the acquiescence of the finance minister, which doesn't seem to have happened in this instance. Have a listen to this clash between the EFF MP Sihle Lonzi talking to Higher Education Minister Bhuti Manamela.
How many advisors did you approve, Minister, to the advisors to the administrator?
4.
4 of them. And then when you are approving the advisors, because you have your own understanding of the remuneration package, how much did you approve that they should be remunerated?
Okay, there was no, as far as I remember from my letter, and as I said in my opening, we received your detailed inquiry in terms of this, and if we can just...
No, Minister, I'm going to stop you there.
Details.
And you know why I'm stopping you.
Yeah.
Earlier on here, we were trying to explain to you that Section 17C of the NSFAS Act says the finance minister must also approve the remuneration package of the advisors, not just the administrator. In fact, if you have an effective team and staff in your office, by now they would have sent you the NSFAS Act. And if you read it, it says the minister, with the approval of the finance minister, may determine the remuneration and allowances to be paid to the administrator and to any other person appointed in terms of Section 17B.
Heated exchange in Parliament yesterday, but Sihle Lonzi, this member of Parliament for the EFF, was like a dog with a bone. He wouldn't let go.
Now I'm taking a step back. I'm not asking you how much did you approve. I'm saying, did you as minister approve how much these advisors should be paid? Or are you moving with the view of the DDG, which says you only approve the appointment and then you said to them, subject that they will tell you how much they must be paid, which is another line item that you must still approve as minister, at least according to your reading of the act?
Yeah. Can we, and because I don't want to give you information just mostly relying on my memory, can we provide you that information? We received this inquiry yesterday.
No. Minister,
yes.
the DDG has a letter before her here.
No, the letter that she has, which I have.
So you're telling me you don't remember whether or not you approved how much advisors must be paid?
No.
Huh? He's insisting, no, but we got the questions yesterday, and you don't remember whether you approved of these people being appointed and how much they ought to be paid. Notwithstanding that you were still meant to ask the finance minister for his acquiescence. What do you remember about your role in this? And all the minister can say is that, no, but we got these questions yesterday. Huh? Is that good enough?
There's no record in any of your devices. The DDG doesn't know, your PAs don't know, your PLO don't know, your advisors don't know whether or not you approved if advisors must be paid. That's the story you're giving this parliament.
Honorable member, as I said, that we have received your inquiry late yesterday and we will give you a detailed
I'm not asking about my inquiry. I'm saying there are 4 people who are working in the office of the administrator. And these people are invoicing the administrator. And we're getting getting there. But I wanted to understand first, what did you agree to? Now, you are trying to tell me that someone can be paid at NSFAS, someone whose payment needs a higher approval can be paid, and you as the minister, you're unaware of that payment.
I didn't say that I'm not aware of it. All I'm saying is we have received your inquiry and that we
let me put the question differently. Are the 4 advisors being paid at NSFAS?
Well, as far as I know, we have approved their payment. I mean, their appointment by the administration.
Let me try again because you are biting your tongue. Are the 4 advisors being paid at NSFAS?
Well, as far as I know, they are. They have been appointed at the NSFAS. And
for them to be paid, it needs an approval. Do you agree with me? That the administrator can't just wake up one morning and start paying people without you, as the executive authority, knowing how much those people are being paid, especially in relation to administration.
Yes.
They're a bit lengthy, but I thought they're worth playing because it's great to see Parliament doing its job, holding the executive to account. Today is International Left-Handers Day, a day for lefties, first celebrated in 1976. It's a world, of course, designed mostly for right-handed people. Think about it. Scissors, school desks, notebooks, even where your computer mouse goes, and even kitchen tools can be awkward for left-handed people. Today also, 29 years ago, South Park premiered on Comedy Central. This is in 1997, South Park appearing for the first time. And that shiny stainless steel spoon in your kitchen, well, it has quite a history. In 1913, a British inventor, Harry Brearley, was trying to make gun barrels that wouldn't wear away and rust quickly. So he produced a new type of steel that resisted corrosion and quickly realized it had uses far beyond guns. And that's how your cutlery changed forever.
702. Up next.
The big interview.
EWN Traffic.
Are we solving South Africa's migration crisis or merely kicking the can down the road? A conversation up next with Dr. Rebecca Walker. But in the meantime, this EWN Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now to save on your car insurance.
Well, Bongani, in 4 ways, we've got an accident on the N1 South. It happened right near Winnie Mandela Drive. It's causing delays from Rivonia Road. And staying in 4 ways, traffic lights are out of order at Monte Cassino Boulevard and Witkoppen Road. So please approach with care. I'll have more updates. Do stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. To save money, you stock up on 2-for-1 vitamin specials at the pharmacy. So why not spend 10 minutes getting an Outsurance car insurance quote, like 48-year-old Adam, who saves
1,803 Rand. Big drop. It's worth going to Outsurance.
That's an awesome 1,803 Rand saving on Adam's 2020 Audi Q3. Why wait? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance saves 36-year-old Jill 471 Rand on her 2025 Hyundai i20.
471 Rand. I still can't believe it. Get Outsurance extra pampering money.
Enjoy benefits like panic assistance that sends the nearest medical or armed response unit to you wherever you are. Get a quote to switch and save with Outsurance today. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insured FSP. TCs and information online. Limits apply.
702.
The big interview.
With Bongani Bingwa.
All right, we were told just the other day that we've spent nearly 300 million Rand repatriating foreign nationals. And the Border Management Authority says it's intercepted more than 4,200 undocumented people trying to enter South Africa between April and June alone. So as government intensifies a migration crackdown, we want to ask the all-important question, are we in fact solving the issue or paying millions to move people across borders only to see the same migration cycle begin again when they return? And who exactly is benefiting from this system? Who is it paying? And will the other governments that we've now asked to pay us back for bringing their people to them, will they actually do it? Dr. Rebecca Walker is a senior research consultant at the Africa Center for Migration and Society at Wits University. A pleasure as always to have you on the show. Thank you for your time.
Good morning to you and your listeners.
The numbers are staggering, almost 300 million rand with this latest crackdown. Almost 90,000 people have been repatriated. Is it evidence that our strategy is working, or, as I asked in my introduction, are we merely kicking the can down the road?
So, I mean, I think those are two very different things, right? So a strategy, when it's working, is that you're actually producing the outcome you're aiming for. So we need to ask, what were we aiming for? If it was to reduce unemployment, that's unchanged, if not worse. If it was a more orderly migration system, we have less of one than we had, before. We have burnt regional relationships. We've created our own crisis. We performed a crisis, in fact. There's no bilateral agreements that have been put in place. So government got very efficient at a particular operation, which was removing people. But whether that operation actually solved anything is a completely different question. And I think, that actually hasn't been answered. We should be asking why, 90,000 people were so-called repatriated and why that's been framed as a headline success, because these are human beings, in many cases, who are working, raising families, embedded in communities and contributing to the economy. So, if we're measuring success by just the number of removals, then we really need to, look at, what problem were we trying to solve and has it been solved? And that was never clearly defined. But all we have is the numbers that we've been given.
Doctor, but even if we focus on those numbers, are those numbers necessarily even telling the story we are told? Because do we have any data, for example, about how many people are repatriated to subsequently return to South Africa?
Well, I think the first thing to note is that of those people so-called repatriated, and I say so-called because repatriation is returning people when they want to go back to a place or they need to go back, and this wasn't repatriation. But we know that many of those people were actually documented in the first place. So this isn't an operation to deal with so-called illegal immigration. This was moving people who had been forcibly chased out of their communities with a budget that the government had never budgeted for, 5 times the actual, 60 million that they had put forward for deportations, and outside of the legislative framework.
Sorry, I just said and counting. 5 times and counting.
And counting, yes. Yeah, and I think another point to make is that 48 million was spent on a facility, a temporary repatriation center designed for 20,000 people. And that peaks at just over 1,000 occupants at any one time. So who's accountable for that? Because if the operation is a sort of, a policy success on migration, then, you don't describe it as an unfunded mandate and then send other countries the bill for it, which is what we have done. So, we really need to ask, has anything changed other than, causing disruption in communities, actually closing down businesses that were relying on migrant labor, and burning those relationships with our neighbors as well.
And is there a financial benefit from this situation? I mean, if you look around, let's take transport as one example. Where did we suddenly find this additional capacity to be able to move people? Which bus companies are making money out of that? And there's more. There's accommodation, there's processing, there's security. It seems to me, you could even almost say there's an industry that's now mushrooming around this issue.
Absolutely, and I think that's the key question. We should be asking how a government has run an operation of this scale outside its own legal and financial framework and is calling it successful policy. Who got those contracts? The largest portion of 292 million went on transport, as you say, procured under emergency conditions, which were outside the normal legislative framework. And if we look at South Africa's track record, in dealing with procurements during emergencies such as the pandemic, that is not a great track record. And Parliament has not been asking those questions of, where that money has come from, who got the contracts, and how this was, were those contracts publicly tendered? I mean, those are all really important questions, and they all point to the fact that this money has been thrown at a crisis that we manufactured to perform this idea of, migration management, when actually all we've done, is make the situation much worse and not really, address the underlying conditions, which ultimately we know are about unemployment, poverty, poor service delivery, none of which removing migrants is going to fix.
There's been some umbrage taken by officials from our side, particularly at the governments of our neighbors and even perhaps further afield, almost as if we're being picked on. The framing of this issue is unfair, the argument has gone. And now we've even made requests to several governments for reimbursements for the repatriation. Is that something that we just say almost to satisfy those who would be baying for blood because, of course, of these unbudgeted for expenses? I mean, is it realistic to expect that any of these countries will pay us a red cent?
Well, I mean, if we look at it, for example, from, say, Malawi's perspective, Malawi has a GDP per capita of roughly $600 compared to South Africa's 6,000. So we're asking one of the world's poorest countries to reimburse us for removing its citizens, many of whom were sending remittances home, keeping their families going, that were actually contributing to the South African economy, bringing skills, sharing skills, and now we're asking them to foot the bill for returning those people. And you know, in addition to that, South Africa holds the SADC chairmanship, and we've committed to using that platform to address regional migration, to make regional migration work better. So you can't claim that you're working on that, you know, and you're trying to build relationships. And also part of the government's 5-point migration plan was to, you know, build better relationships with our neighbors. So you can't claim to do that and then the next day send them an invoice for, you know, something that we have actually created ourselves. So, you know, there's not only that this sort of basic sort of arithmetic there, but there's also the moral matter as well. You know, South Africa has received enormous continental solidarity throughout its history. And those, you know, surrounding countries particularly hosted, you know, sort of, you know, people crossed over and sought sanctuary in our neighboring countries, in Tanzania, Zambia, Mozambique for decades. At no cost to us. Those countries, you know, looked after South Africans. Nobody sent South Africa an invoice for that. So, you know, to look at it that way, you've really got to ask, you know, what is the logic here? This is not going to be paid via an invoice, but I mean, more importantly is what is this doing to our relationships and how does this make South Africa look?
It's meant to be a political sleight of hand, but I'm afraid we might pay the price in more ways than we are seeing right now. Dr. Rebecca Walker is a senior research consultant at the Africa Center for Migration and Society at Wits University.
EWN Business.
All right, 28 after 7, let's catch up with business news. Good morning again, Muteo Haripe.
Yeah, we start here at this hour. Bongani Spur Corporation plans to appeal an arbitration ruling ordering it to pay GPS Food around 75 million rand in damages plus 10% annual interest. Now, when the interest is added, the total climbs to 123 million rand. The dispute in question dates back to 2019 when a proposed joint venture to develop and operate a rib processing facility fell apart. GPS Food says there was an oral agreement that the facility would supply Spur, but the fast food group later backed out. Now, Spur maintains that no final joint venture agreement was ever signed. The arbitrator ruled in GPS Food's favor in the main contractual claim. A separate 95 million rand claim alleging misrepresentation was dismissed. Now, the appeal will be heard by 3 independent senior arbitrators and is scheduled to sit on February 2027. That decision will be final. In terms of the markets, we've seen some play out this morning. The July reading for the U.S. Producer Price Index, which gauges what wholesalers pay for raw goods and materials, is set for release on Thursday later today. While in Asia this morning, South Korea's Kospi rising 4%, Japan's Nikkei up 1.5%, while in Australia, the benchmark S&P ASX 200 was down marginally. Looking at the JSE, some downward trade for the JSE All Share down 962 points, led down by industrials, which were down close to 3%. Banking stocks were also down by close to 0.5%. ShopRite there, part of the top 10 of the top 100, up 8.2%. Lightprop was up 2%. Valterra enjoying gains of 2%, while AngloGold was up more than 1%. Grindrod was down 11%. I'll tell you why after 8. Our Process was down 7%, while Naspers, the JSE darling, also losing out on 7% of its value. Then 16 Rand 15 cents. That's the going rate for the Rand against the dollar at this hour, holding it quite strong against the US unit at 18 Rand 61 against the euro, 21 Rand 79 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $4,399 an ounce, or platinum is at $1,753. Brent crude at $88 a barrel. More business after 8.
Time now for your latest eyewitness news brought to you by Khaliks. Khaliks for the businessman who knows what he wants. Sfisa Zulu, good morning.
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. A new digital platform aimed at making it easier and faster for eligible travelers to enter South Africa has been launched. Visitors will now apply online without going to an embassy or visa processing center. Speaking at the launch at OR Tambo International Airport yesterday, President Cyril Ramaphosa described the platform as a game changer.
It's not only about immigration, it is about the ease of doing business, enabling investments to come into our country.
Members of the police's anti-gang unit have arrested a prison warden for dealing in drugs. The officials searched the car he was travelling in during a roadblock in Goodwood, Cape Town yesterday. The 47-year-old is in police custody and will appear in the Goodwood Magistrates Court once charged. The police's Frederick van Wyk.
The members found 600 Mendrix tablets, 100 grams of tik, 300 grams of dagga, 23 cellular telephones, 3 earpods pairs, 5 USB memory sticks, 10 condoms and 60 libido tablets in the warden's vehicle.
SASSA's efforts to cut long queues and improve service delivery are set to face a first-hand test today when Social Development Minister Dina Pule visits 2 offices in the Western Cape. She is expected to speak to beneficiaries and officials about challenges with accessing social grants. There have been complaints recently of long waiting times, overcrowding, and even alleged queue selling. Ntutuzelo Nene reports.
SASSA officials in the Western Cape say they have introduced measures to improve client flow at most offices. These include digital queue management, biometric self-service systems, additional queue marshals, and pre-screening. At selected offices, including Belleville, staff also conduct document checks and initial assessments before clients reach service counters. Minister Pule says she wants to see for herself whether these measures are making a difference. She says beneficiaries deserve efficient and dignified services and that long queues cannot be a permanent feature of accessing social protection. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
And polls have opened in Zambia where people are voting in elections where economic hardship is expected to test President Hakainde Hichilema's record. The president wants re-election as more than 8.7 million people prepare to cast their ballots. Long regarded as one of Africa's more stable democracies, the country has come under scrutiny over concerns that Hichilema's government has narrowed the space for dissent even as it promises stronger economic recovery. The 64-year-old won a 2021 election on his 6th attempt and is betting on job creation and an ambitious infrastructure drive to secure a final 5-year term. His main challenger is Brian Mandubile, a former minister in the Patriotic Front's government that ruled from 2011 to 2021. The 55-year-old challenger says the government has tightened restrictions on his party's campaign and he does not see the election as being free and fair. A cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 14 and 18 degrees.
And in the traffic, we've got faulty traffic lights in Santon at Grayston Drive and Catherine Street. There's also queuing traffic reported on at the intersection of four ways in Monte Cassino and the main boulevard. So please be on the lookout traveling around the area.
The top story this hour, a new digital platform aimed at making it easier and faster for eligible travelers to enter South Africa has been launched.
When everything around you is turned upside down, you'll always find an elegant, calm, poised man in a suit. He's the typical Khaliks man. He understands that polished first impressions count and that Khaliks suits are arguably the best investment any businessman can make. Khaliks service, quality and value for money are the best in the business. And that's why when things turn upside down, Khaliks offer the quiet confidence and reassurance that only Khaliks men understand. Khaliks, for the businessman who knows what he wants.
This advert is paid for by the political party concerned.
Ish, I love my hometown, but for too long now, I look around and think we deserve better than this. The water goes off for days, the streets are falling apart, and things never get fixed. Look, I'm not asking for anything fancy. I just want basics to work. And I know they can work because I've seen it where the Democratic Alliance is in charge. I want our town to work for all. So in this election, I'm voting DA.
This advert was paid for by the political party concerned.
Dad, how come Mom's not coming to my soccer game?
Well, Mom isn't allowed to come to your soccer games anymore.
Is it because she tried to tackle Coach KB for giving me a red card?
Maybe.
Humans who fiercely protect the people they love. Welcome. Search Liberty Protect to protect your life and legacy today. Liberty, in it with you, all of you. Liberty Group Limited, a licensed life insurer, an authorized FSP and part of the Standard Bank Group. T's and C's, risks and limitations apply.
What's for dinner tonight, South Africa? Hiya, Jamie Oliver here. Dinner stress? Forget it. I've teamed up with Checkers to bring you some of my favourite recipes the whole family will love. Like my delicious chicken and mushroom stroganoff. Creamy, hearty and ready in 30. Easy peasy and delicious. Shop the ingredients on Checkers 6060 and boom, delivered in 60 minutes. Every week, 5 brand new dinner ideas. Checkers, dinner done better.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa is brought to you by BCX. Built on trusted telecom business connectivity. Powered by cloud, strengthened by security, enabled by AI.
Hi, Bongani. The expert you had there to speak on immigration is consistent with the position of all the other experts you would have had there to speak on the same. They are pro-illegal immigration. And it is as if you endorse that. Our country has laws, and those laws must be enforced. Yes, I can take the argument of inefficiencies with regards to how these operations were carried out and the high cost if it is determined to be. But still, our laws have to be implemented, our laws have to be enforced. And the lazy argument about the economic benefit or economic value add from these illegal immigrants is the same, I think, in principle as arguing for the shadow economy. That also contributes something to our economy. So must we then allow it just because there is an economic contribution or economic value derived? So I don't know, but we need to really get people there on the show that can make balanced arguments. And we also have to be seen to be balanced yourself on this matter.
Good morning, Bongani and the team. It's Jonas in Pretoria. For me, I think that line of argument is expected from such a guest that you have there. I think one needs a balanced view, because what she'll always say is for the migrant. She's pro-migrant. So I think there is indeed yes, benefit to those bus companies. They benefited. But I think even people who are staying with this undocumented migrant who have left, they've benefited as well.
Good morning, 702 Land, Jody here. Bongani, I think you were under prep there with that lady there. She got away. You're not like stern and firm like you always are. I think this one, you were a bit soft on the lady there. Thanks for a great show.
Tell you what, let's talk about balance for a second. Go with me. Let's say that you are looking at this issue that we've just discussed from the perspective of March and all the other organizations that have been applying pressure for a crackdown around this issue of migration. Remember, of course, one of their central objections is that migrants are taking away jobs that locals ought to be performing, right? That's one of the central objections as far as this migration issue is concerned. So I don't think it's a lazy argument then to say that remove the migrants and you are removing jobs because some of those migrants employ South Africans. I don't think it's as lazy as it may sound. But let's move away from that. Even if you are dealing with this from the perspective of March and March, there are a couple of things you need to think about here. All right, so pressure has been brought to bear. These people now are supposed to leave. But you can't repatriate people without the documents. So as Dr. Walker suggested, either they were already in possession of such documents, or you had to fast-track a process through which they now leave with documents. That alone costs money. But if you're looking at it even as a March in March supporter, you then ask yourself the question, well, why wasn't that done before? Why was there no process to fast-track that kind of process before? Right? But with no reliable data on how many people leave and return, what was the point? You get the headline that we've spent 5 times what was budgeted to get them out, but you don't know if they haven't returned. You can't tell us. Nobody knows. Then, of course, there is the issue of the actual money. Did we have the capacity for people to move in and out of the country in the way that we are now seeing? The bulk of that nearly 300 million rand went to transport companies. Whose transport companies? Where did they suddenly come from? Do you see what I'm saying? Even if you're looking at it from a March and March point of view, isn't this just a way to be seen to be doing something when the actual issue remains exactly as it was before and the needle hasn't moved?
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance, a chance for you to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. First, 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then a little later, 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask Outsurance for 500 Rand. Today's answer comes from Bongayo, who is in Davidton. Bongayo, what's today's answer, please? Bongayo?
Hello, Bongani. Today's answer is big. Can you hear me?
I can.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Yes, today's answer is Big Mama Thornton.
Big Mama Thornton
Big Mama
is today's answer.
Yes, today's answer is Big Mama Thornton.
And tell me, Bongayo, have you got yourself a quote from Outsurance? Bongayo, are you there?
I'm a member.
You are a member. There's a bit of a delay there. I'm not quite sure.
I'm a member.
Okay.
Hello, I'm a member.
Yeah. We got you. I think there's a bit of a delay there in hearing us, but nonetheless, I think we've got to the crux of it. Bukanya says the answer is Big Mama Thornton. Big Mama Thornton. What's the question? Call us if you know on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
Sinipaluta, it's a very different Kaizer Chiefs so far in the Betway Premiership. It's early days, yes, it's early days.
Come back, it's 2 games in.
But I mean, they didn't start like this last time.
Did they?
It was a rough start.
And then they picked up towards the end.
From the beginning.
Okay.
So
maybe
it's
this is the continuation, right?
Let's be nice to them.
And the opposition will argue that it's because Kaizer Chiefs played less games last season, so they're all well rested because they didn't, have any of the big competitions to play for. But Kaizer Chiefs fan, you know what? Celebrate when your team is winning because it has been a while.
Listen, it's for me, and I've argued this for many years. The Premiership works better when Kaizer Chiefs are playing well. Of course you want Sundowns to do the same. Of course you want Pirates to do the same. Even little, newbies like Milford, you want them to do well. But Kaizer Chiefs have to do well for it to be an interesting season.
Well, I think it's just important for football in general, worldwide, if there isn't one team that absolutely dominates.
Absolutely.
Like Celtic in Scotland or the Bundesliga with Bayern, all of that kind of stuff. So yes, Kaizer Chiefs fans, go to work this morning, wear your jersey, celebrate, halala, halala. You're unbeaten the Betway Premiership after 2 games. 2-0 win. Halala, halala. 2-0 win over Sekakone. Second half goals from Bartman and Shabalala, while Orlando Pirates coach Abdeslam Wadu was unimpressed with his side after a 1-1 draw at Amazulu. The defending champions led in the opening 7 minutes before Ngwenya equalized with a penalty.
I think we had 2 phases of the game. The first half, I think we had a lot of precipitation, a lot of technical errors. We didn't really saw the real face of Pirate. I didn't recognize my team at the first half. Although we have scored, I don't even think that we deserve to lead with 1-0 at the first half.
Milford beats Sibalele 1-0 for their first win of, first win of the season. Durban City and Golden Arrows finished goalless. PSG defended their UEFA Super Cup title. They beat Aston Villa 2-1 through Kvaratskhelia and Doha. Villa's goal was scored by 17-year-old Brian Majo on debut. Banyana under huge pressure tonight. They're playing Africa's top side, Nigeria, in a World Cup qualifier at 10 p.m. Striker Hilda Magaya.
It's not going to be an easy match. It's going to be physical. There's just going to be a lot going on as we know each other with Nigeria. So it's not going to be an easy one. They're going to come in hard as much as we're going to go in hard. Yeah, it's going to be a battle.
Malawi playing at WAFCON for the first time ever are through to the final. What a dream tournament for them. They beat Algeria 3-1. They'll meet Cameroon in Sunday's final. Cameroon beat hosts Morocco on penalties after a goalless game. New Zealand Rugby's given the All Blacks an exemption to call up Richie Maunga. Maunga, who last played for them in 2023, is only eligible to play for them again from October, as New Zealand Rugby requires players to be under contract with the domestic team in order to be selected for the national side. Maunga's currently signed to a Japanese club. It's been like that for a while, right? And so then once because the argument was when they were dominating, we're getting it right because our teams play Super Rugby, and the Springboks have got it wrong because their guys play wherever they want. And then in the last, 8 years, it's shifted. They've gone, oh, hang on a second. And now they're rethinking that rule. But anyway, Richie Maunga's coming to South Africa for the greatest rivalry. Live Test cricket in Darwin, where the hosts Australia 188 after electing to bat against Bangladesh on day one. Steve Smith is there on 70. And tennis from the WTA 1000s this morning. Helena Rybakina came from a set down to beat Coco Gauff 5-7, 6-2 and 6-2 to set up a final with Iga Swiatek, who beat Svetlana 6-3, 1-6 and 6-3. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Local government elections aren't just about municipalities and councillors. They're about people like you and the park where your children play, the streetlights that guide you to the bus stop, the neighborhood where you want to feel safe. The truth is, what happens in the council chamber doesn't stay there. It finds its way into the lives of ordinary people like you. So in the run-up to the local government elections, 702, Cape Talk and EWN will be where your concerns become the conversation, your community becomes the story, and your voice matters, because this is more than local. It's personal. Follow every moment of the local government election on 702, Cape Talk and EWN.co.za. Download the EWN app.
This week on The Masked Singer South Africa, the competition changes completely. For the first time, there are no face-offs, no head-to-head battles, no pairs going against each other, just 5 masks, 5 solo performances, and 1 big mystery. Sushi, spinach, pineapple, hoja and sheep all return to the stage, and this time it's every mask for themselves.
Pangolin usafunan.
Well, I've been undercover for a while, and I think I could do a good job at being the host of the most. Actually...
Hey, oh, so when the whole night you are just eyeing my job?
Well, you are pretty clueless.
Ow, Pangolin, because you kept interrupting me every time I come on. Hey, boop, bloop.
Because you talk too much.
Hey, guys, I've heard enough of this. I've had enough of this.
Listen carefully, because every detail could bring you one step closer to guessing who is behind the mask. Catch a brand new episode of The Masked Singer South Africa this Saturday at 7 p.m. on SABC 2. The repeats on Thursday at 9 p.m. on SABC 1 and Friday 1:30 p.m. on SABC 2.
For over 120 years, Shell has been woven into the vibrant fabric of Mzansi, fueling your engines and your dreams, powering your journeys and your potential. We believe progress is measured in the opportunities we create, the smiles we inspire, and the lives we continue to touch. We are more than just energy. For the everyday difference in people's lives, you can always count on Shell.
Moving to a bigger office space can be expensive. Thanks to My Way Business Insurance, I get to save up to 20% on my insurance premiums every month. Plus, I get My Business Assist, which helps me with marketing, legal, and admin services. Saving money while growing my business is a great win for me.
Switch to My Way Business Insurance and save up to 20% on your monthly premiums. Real businesses, real savings. Call us on 0860 646464 today for a quote. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. Standard rates and T's and C's apply.
EWN Traffic.
10 to 8, let's catch up with the roads. Delays around the Woodmead area, Amo.
That's correct, Bongani. That's due to faulty traffic lights at the M1 South and Woodmead Drive. About a 20-minute hold up there as a result. Please be on the lookout, particularly if you're coming out of the Baku interchange. And then if you are traveling in the Sandton area, traffic lights are still out of order at Grayston and Catherine Street. There's also queuing traffic on the Maikwa North towards Grayston Drive. If you're heading towards Four Ways, do expect heavy traffic volumes on the N1 South between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. That's due to an accident. Unfortunately, the N1 North is also backed up as a result of this scene between Malibongo Drive and Rivonia Road. In the city of Tshwane, some issues on the N14 East. This is between the R55 and the Brakfontein interchange. And then, of course, on the N4 West, approaching the Proof Plus interchange. That's due to roadworks that are taking place along that route. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The 702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance. Please tell me, what's the question? If the answer is Big Mama Thornton, let's go to the lines. Gibson, what's the question?
Yes. The question is, which artist recorded on this day the original version of Hound Dog in 1952 in Los Angeles?
Yeah, indeed. And Elvis Presley, of course, made it more famous, but the original version, for me, sounds perhaps even better. Gibson, 2,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to Outsurance and 702. Congratulations. Now, deciding to skip the gym may cost you that smoothie reward, but deciding to stay with your current car insurance, well, that could be costing you thousands of rands in savings a year. With Outsurance, 48-year-old Sylvia saves an incredible 802 Rand a month on her 2019 BMW X1. Switch to Outsurance today and you too could be one quote away from having more money in your pocket every month. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
Since its establishment in 1990, thousands of successful leaders in the legal profession have walked through the doors of the Law Society of South Africa's School for Legal Practice. Not only do we promote professional training, but our lead schools across the country provide training in over 25 learning programs. For the best practical vocational training course for future leaders, come to LEAD. Visit our website on lssalead.org.za. LEAD, your #1 school for legal education.
That's Thabo, before he got naked. When Thabo's car broke down, he did what every manly man does best. Hit things, fiddle, and hope it works. So Thabo got naked. He got comprehensive car insurance in seconds and can now call roadside assistance anytime on the Naked app. Tools down, Thabo. Cover your car and home now at naked.insure and see how easy insurance can be when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
702.
702. What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
Time now for the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Bella.
Cinema etiquette. This is a really, really important one.
Yeah, and I mean, when last did you go to the cinema? Maybe you went because you're a Spider-Man fan or an Odyssey fan, and those were the two biggest releases that we've had in a very, very long time. Yeah. And lots of people have gone to the cinemas. And I read something yesterday saying that the trend for the younger generation is that they're going back to the cinema, which is good. It's good for Stekeniko and Metro and the movie houses, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some friends and I are planning to go see The Odyssey just this coming weekend.
Okay.
So I thought this was a really timely question for you to ask.
Hey, man, the stars aligned. So the thing with what happened was because you had these two big releases over the same weekend, there were lots of people going, and I'm sure the cinemas haven't seen this many people coming, in a very, very long time. So there were issues. There was issues with waiting for your popcorn that you had pre-booked, etc., etc. And a lot of people took to online and had their sort of bit to say about it. I came across this post from, I think she's called Tech Girl Air ZA. Let's have a listen to what she had to say about her experience at a Ster-Kinekor.
I wonder if it's because people just don't go to the movies that much anymore. And so when there is a big movie like The Odyssey or the new Spider-Man, they're not prepared for the influx of people. We went on Saturday to Ster-Kinekor for Mall to watch the new Spider-Man movie. We went to the 1:45 show. We stood for, I think it was about 45 minutes to an hour in a queue waiting to collect our popcorn and drinks that were pre-ordered and prepaid for. And during that time, while we were in the queue, there is like barely enough staff there to help. All these teenage kids just started pushing in. They started queuing up the exit aisle. They started climbing over the barriers, and they did not care. My partner even kind of stood up to them at one point and sort of walked over and said, "Hey, like, this isn't acceptable. There's all these people in the queue." Did not care. They just looked at him and carried on doing their thing. When we got to the actual cinema, no one checking tickets. We walked in. We were fine, but there were other people who arrived, and there were kids sitting in their chairs. When they asked them to move, the kids just said no. They then have to go out, find a staff member. There weren't any staff members. When they eventually came back and the kids saw the staff members, the kids would get up and leave. It was chaos. The whole way through the movie, we had people in and out trying to get people out of chairs. People were arriving like an hour after the movie started just because of the terrible queues outside.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Sounds like a disaster.
It does. In fairness, Ster-Kinekor did respond to her video, and they apologized and said they'll do better. But some of the issues here, and maybe it's if there's a new generation that are going to the cinemas, maybe they need to learn a little bit of etiquette when you are in a cinema. Now, for you, when you are in a cinema and you're watching your movies, what are the non-negotiable things, the etiquette that you have to abide by so that everybody can enjoy the movie just as much as you do? What are the big things that are a no-no when you go to the movie? I haven't been to a movie since 2022 to watch Top Gun Maverick.
Really?
Because I get irritated by people's lack of respect for other people when you're in the cinema. I even once walked out of a movie because I couldn't handle it anymore. I think it was 1912, and there was a scene where it was hectic. It's about war and death, and this person that was in front of me was having a fat chat on her phone, having a laugh, etc., etc. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to tap on the shoulder and say something. I'm just going to get up and walk out, and I'll go watch it another time.
No. I would ask them to get off their phone. I mean, that just drives me crazy. But I was just doing a calculation as you were talking.
Yes.
That the average 16, 17-year-old, right? Because she says in that video they were teens.
Yes.
In 2020, they would have been 9, 10 years old. And so they've spent... No, hang on, listen.
Yeah.
They've spent a good portion of the last 6 or 7 years not going to the cinemas. And part of what we learned about etiquette was people would typically go to the cinemas with a parent, right? When they were younger. And so that's when you learned to queue properly and to stand, et cetera, et cetera. So these are people who are venturing almost into the wild without ever having been prepared by a parent or guided in that sense. I wonder if that has something to do with it, but we'll put it out there. Cinema etiquette. What are the do's and don'ts at the movies? And Ster-Kinekor really ought to have been prepared better for this. That's what's gone viral with Kabazela.
702. Feedback with Baphelile Sambo.
Your phone, I don't care if you're not even... I don't even want to see it light up.
I know it irks you.
In the cinema.
Yeah. Not even the cinema, theaters as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why are you on your phone?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you on your phone?
So used to it.
Why are you on your phone?
So used
at the
to
cinema,
it.
at the movies. And the light goes on.
Trying to check some WhatsApp messages.
Ooh.
I know. You've told us this before. Anyway,
it's
Bongani.
Not you, but
it's not
obviously.
me. Guys, keep your phones away if Bongani is around.
Anyway, Bongani, before I get to my feedback, I just want to send a quick shout out to Thomas on YouTube. He's listening to us all the way from Pemba City in Mozambique. He says he loves the show and is a loyal 702 listener. I wanted to say pip, 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 pip to you.
Halala,
Welcome
Thomas.
to the
Halala.
family. Yes.
As Cindy would say, halala, Thomas.
Halala, Thomas. And Bongani, following our talker this morning on what kind of physical contact with strangers makes you uncomfortable, we've had some interesting responses. Cindy on WhatsApp, she says she's grateful for social media and dating apps because back then when she was Shelat, proposed to, men would talk to her holding her hands and she hates that. And now she's grateful that she gets to decide when to meet them and when they get to touch her.
Oh, wow. In case you were wondering what that conversation was about, today we was on this day that a doctor invented the stethoscope, right? Because he felt uncomfortable listening to a woman's heartbeat by placing his head on her breast. And he thought there must be an easier way. And that's how the stethoscope was invented.
Yeah. And our big interview with Dr. Rebecca Walker from Wits University, we had a source on WhatsApp sharing strong views on the cost of the repatriation process. He says the process was a waste of money from the start and we shouldn't expect Malawi, Nigeria and Ethiopia to reimburse the government. Let's take a listen.
Good morning, Bongani. I think, first of all, so this thing of Home Affairs, deportation, is just a waste of money. The second thing is there's no way we're going to get the money from the other countries because those countries, they are actually contributing and assisting their people to cross the border into South Africa. So there's no way they're gonna pay us something in return. Yeah, thank you, Bongani. This is also from Four Ways.
Of course they won't. Of course. And that's why I was saying earlier, no matter which way you're approaching this issue, you've got to really ask the question, is what we are being told is being done, is it really making any difference?
This is EWN.
The state wants Julius Mkhwanazi and his murder co-accused denied bail, and AKA's alleged killers are expected back in court. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and 4 others are expected to apply for bail at the Brakpan Magistrates Court this morning after spending a week behind bars. The state is opposing bail, arguing that the accused face a Scheduled 6 murder charge, among others, which requires exceptional circumstances to justify their release. The 5 are facing 3 charges, including murder, robbery, and defeating the ends of justice linked to the death of businessman Emmanuel Mbenze. Mbenze was allegedly tortured to death and his body was found in a dam near Nigel. Demakatso Leshuru has more.
Legal teams for Julius Mkhwanazi and the 5 argued last week they were being ambushed by the state as prosecutors refused to reveal reasons the state is opposing bail. Mkhwanazi's lawyer, advocate Peter Wilkins, disputed the Schedule 6 classification, arguing that his client could at most face a charge of being an accessory after the fact, as he was allegedly called to the scene of the murder after Mbenze's death. Mbenze was allegedly robbed and tortured to death before his body was dumped at the Spaarwater Dam. The state alleges that after Mbenze was killed and his body disposed of, the group held a meeting in Calvinia where they were allegedly sworn to secrecy, with death as the consequence for anyone who betrayed the group. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
7 suspects linked to the murder of rapper Kinan aka Forbes and businessman Tibelo Tibbs Motswane are set to return to the Durban High Court today. They appeared together for the first time in June after 2 suspects known as the Ndimande brothers were extradited from Eswatini. Forbes and Motswane were shot in Durban 3 years ago. NPA spokesperson Natasha Ramkinson-Kara unpacks the charges.
Conspiracy to commit murder, as well as murder, attempted murder and firearm-related charges. The trial is expected to start on the 5th of October 2026.
Higher Education Minister Puti Manamela says NSFAS needs a complete redesign to survive. He says this will require restoring the entity's systems as it continues to struggle with making payments to qualifying students. Manamela briefed Parliament's Higher Education Committee yesterday on the progress with stabilizing the entity since he put it under administration in May. Babalo Ndenze has more.
Puti Manamela placed the entity under administration after serious governance failures, including IT and payment crashes. Manamela says the NSFAS continues to face obstacles and its biggest challenge remains accommodation and direct payments to service providers. He says the instability of NSFAS affects the entire higher education system and must be addressed urgently.
The NSFAS cannot go on, the way it should, and that we need, a complete redesign, of that institution if it is to effectively serve the needs, interests, and aspirations of South Africans. It means fixing the immediate failures that prejudice students. It also means restoring systems and controls.
Manamela says previous governments have postponed issues around a sustainable funding structure, and having the entity under administration can't be a permanent governance model. Babalo Ndenze, Eyewitness News.
And President Cyril Ramaphosa has extended South Africa's condolences to Zimbabwe following the Lake Kariba ferry disaster that has claimed 44 lives. The vessel, which had a capacity of 90 passengers and 5 crew members, was overloaded, carrying around 120 people, including 12 children, when it was struck by a strong wave and capsized on Monday. 77 people have so far been rescued, while search and recovery operations continue. Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa has declared a state of disaster. Ramaphosa says South Africa stands in solidarity with Zimbabwe during the time of mourning. Presidency spokesperson Vincent Magwe.
As South Africans, we stand in solidarity today with the nation of Zimbabwe as we mourn this extensive loss of life. We wish survivors a speedy recovery, and we pay tribute to the emergency services who are working tirelessly to support and bring closure to affected families and communities.
Gold is trading at $4,387.06 an ounce. The rand is at 16.16 to the dollar, 21.80 to the pound, 18.62 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $88.86 a barrel.
There's queuing traffic on the N1 South. This is right as we approach Winnie Mandela Drive. I'm being told on our X at EWN Traffic that it's a truck that has jackknifed there, so please be on the lookout. And then traveling on the N1 North, we've got delays between Malibongo Drive and Rivonia Road.
And in your sport, Banyana battles Nigeria tonight in a World Cup qualifier at 10 p.m. Defending champions Orlando Pirates held by Amazulu as Kaizer Chiefs made it 2 league wins from 2. Milford got a first win. And the All Blacks make an exception to call up Richie Manga for the greatest rivalry tour.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 14 and 18 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and 4 others are expected to apply for bail in the Brakpan Magistrates Court this morning after spending a week behind bars.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Your neighborhood, your street, your home. Your local government election coverage lives on 702 Cape Talk and ewn.co.za. Download the EWN app.
This is 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, brought to you by BCX. Built on trusted connectivity, powered by cloud, strengthened by security, enabled by AI.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes after 8 o'clock, I played you some clips from an explosive session in Parliament yesterday at the Higher Education Committee, the Portfolio Committee there, putting some tough questions to the Higher Education Minister, Puti Manamela, who at times couldn't explain himself, but he does say NSFAS needs a complete redesign if it is to survive. And we've asked the question before, do we need NSFAS at all in terms of the edifice that it has become when there are so many issues and so many millions, if not billions of rands, that questions can be asked about. A little earlier on, We spoke to Dr. Ismail Lagadin about America's power problem. Is Trump the symptom, or is he an example of what America has become? Dr. Rebecca Walker, senior researcher at Wits University at the Africa Center for Migration and Society, asking the tough questions around, are all our efforts really dealing with the migration issue? Somebody said it's a lazy argument to say that because the migrants have left, jobs have been lost. And I thought, well, gosh, wasn't that the whole objection to begin with? That they are taking jobs away. What is your reaction? Kamazela wants to know the do's and don'ts of cinema etiquette. And I really think I'm onto something with these kids who went a good portion, a good chunk of their lives, of their teenage lives, without a parent to guide them in the cinema. Until I asked myself, gosh, how many movies did my mother take me to? And I knew how to behave in the cinema.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Uteo, do's and don'ts in the cinema. If you want to upset me, if you want the tap on your shoulder, keep playing with your cell phone.
Yeah, cell phone is a big no-no. Also, get there early.
Yeah.
Get seated in the right seat so you don't have to ask us to make way for you while the movie is on.
Yay. Excuse me.
Oh, man.
Sorry,
I
excuse
absolutely
me.
hate that.
Sorry, excuse me.
Also, you can't have a full-on conversation while I'm trying to catch the script on the movie. It's just, why are you here?
I say what I don't miss. I don't miss standing in a queue and maybe you've got about 5 minutes before the movie starts and you're already negotiating with yourself, okay, maybe they're still playing trailers, right? Because maybe you were a little late. What I don't miss is a person in front of you deciding, ooh, do you have Oreos? Which Oreos do you have? And then they argue about whether they want the grape slushy or the strawberry slabby. Yeah, hey? Do you want the one with the jelly tots? I don't miss that.
Astros.
I don't miss that.
I think also what's made it a bit worse is those systems that you have to punch in yourself. So there's people who struggle with that thing where you have to order everything, even your combo, so that when you get to the part where you're collecting, your combo appears on the screen and they do it for you, and so you don't have to negotiate with the person who's making it for you. But those, I can see if there's a lot of people at the cinema, it can cause a bit of a distraction, because if Bongani is struggling there to punch whatever he wants, then that means I'm going to be delayed.
That's why you must do it on the app, so that when you get there, you go straight to the queue whilst they're busy struggling. I want them to struggle.
So that you can
just
go in. Swiftly.
Hi, Bongani. Regarding the cinemas and etiquette, first thing, I think the etiquette should be Ster-Kiniko and New Metro, and all these guys should reduce the prices of their movies. The tickets are ridiculously expensive, and you would have more family outings at the cinemas if their prices were lower, firstly. Secondly, yes, there is no etiquette when you go to the cinemas anymore. It is absolutely frustrating. There's no system, there's no order, and there's definitely no staff. And also the other problem is the lack of friendly staff. That's another problem. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people just don't understand of having common courtesy. That is it, common courtesy. This is Man from Johannesburg. Thank you.
There's no excuse for bad behavior, lack of manners, and being disrespectful. Queuing is not something new to any teenager. I don't care how old they are or if they never went to the movies. You queue in a decent fashion and you obey the lines. You can see people are queuing. There's no excuse for that. And in terms of sitting in a seat, I'm sorry, the teenagers know that you need to book and pay for a seat. So that too, there's no excuse for that. I'm sorry. Thanks very much, Suzanne. Bye-bye.
Morning, Bongani and the team. On the topic of cinema etiquette, I think the worst one is when people come in late, mid-movie, and then they're walking with their flash on, looking for their seat. And I'm just like, why is your flash on? Normally, like the numbers, there's light on the numbers, right? So you just have to look down and then you can see the numbers. Why are you flashing your phone all over the place? And you're late. No, man.
Oh, no. Your phone light has to be off. You cannot be
on the phone. You cannot be having a fat chit chat with your friends or your family. You're supposed to go in there and be silent and let everyone enjoy. And the up and downs and the up and downs. If you're somebody that's going to be up and down and going to the bathroom, sit in the corners. Sit in the corners. Oh, I'm so grateful that I grew up in the era that I grew up in, because the story I'm hearing of people cutting queues and everything is just sounding revolting to me. It's such a put off. And there was nothing like that when we were growing up. Apart from just, telling people to shh every now and then, shh. There was nothing like that. You sat in the allocated seat, you stood in the queue for popcorn, and that was that. It was respectful. It was enjoyable. I loved going to the movies as a teen.
Look, the other thing then, and I wonder if it's, chicken or an egg scenario, right? The cinemas have cut down on staff because we haven't been going. And now when there are good offerings and we're thinking, okay, let's try this thing again, they don't necessarily maybe have the capacity for the numbers that are suddenly returning to the cinemas. And even if they try and beef them up, would those numbers be sustainable over the long period? So maybe what they should do then is have casual workers, I suppose, on weekends at least, to bolster their staff complement, particularly when there are big movies or big movies out. Box office hits, that's the word I'm looking for, box office hits. Have you been to the cinema? What's your experience? I love the movies. I absolutely love the movies, and I love the movies as an outing. I think movies became so commonplace in the old days, especially when you would do your vitality points. There would be half-price Tuesdays. I mean, I remember massive queues outside Sterland in Pretoria, for example, for half-price Tuesdays. So there was a time when going to the movie was something you even did on your own. And maybe one of the things we can do is do it as an outing. Go with a group of friends. Go with your family. Hey, Mutel?
It's still one of those nice things to do with your family. But speaking about egg tickets, I think one of the best movie experiences I've ever had was watching Jerusalem in the Joburg CBD. There was no egg ticket. There was whistling. There was all sorts of. It was the best way to watch it.
What is that movie? The one where they do the Wayne brothers do a parody of the Hilton sisters. White girls.
White girls.
Watching
chicks.
white chicks, I think it was called. Watching white chicks at the Carlton Center was a very different experience to watching it at Sandton City.
Did you also love the commentary that came with it?
Dude. And there were certain movies you actually went to those cinemas where you knew there'd be conversation with the characters. Wenzani in the middle of the movie.
Let's talk.
We're listening.
Morning, bongos and my fellow 702 landers. Me, I'm with Amo. A stranger on the queue coming so close to me. I don't like it at all. I normally stand up or give them space. I say, and I'll be like, no, I don't like sitting. I'll stand up so that I don't like being squeezed, please. I don't like it at all. I don't like it. JJ from Pretoria. All the best, guys. Thanks always.
Hello, Bongani and the listeners. Hi, and shaking. I don't take it at all because most of the people, they don't wash hands. Especially males. I'm sorry to say that, but most of the males, they don't wash hands. I don't.
Good morning, Bongani and the team. I hate so much when you talk to someone or having conversation with someone and keeps on tapping on you as if you don't hear him. I hate it. Mongezi Kolani Ranfontaine. Thank you. Bye.
We were talking, of course, a little earlier on about how do you deal with the touch of strangers? What kind of physical contact with strangers makes you uncomfortable? And it was all to do with the discomfort of getting too close that helped inspire one of medicine's most familiar inventions. In 1816, this French doctor wanted to hear a woman's heartbeat but felt uncomfortable putting his ear to the chest. So he rolled a sheet of paper into a tube and heard the heartbeat through it. and from that, the stethoscope was born. The French doctor René Théophile Hyacinthe Laennec died at just the tender age of 45.
EWN Traffic.
19 after 8, the CWN Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. What's going on, Amu?
In Crownwood, rather Amalgam Crownwood Road, we've got a major accident reported right near Industrial Road. It is causing heavy delays as you come out of Main Reef Road. Please be on the lookout there. In fact, within the Amalgam Crown City area, we've got heavier delays along Main Reef Road, Nazareth Road, as well as Church Street. And then traveling on the M2 West, delays between Boysons Road and the Crown Interchange. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance pointsmen can't help you find the perfect parking spot, but they can get the traffic flowing smoothly so that you can get to the shops before the sale ends. The Outsurance pointsmen are real heroes in green and purple, easing traffic congestion and making lives easier for almost 21 years. It's just another way you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Has this process of repatriations, not deportations, been finalized now?
We have finalized number of the people now that are repatriating very small. Some of them are doing self-repatriation, but also we are scaling down the facility now in Musina because it was temporary. So very soon, I think the Interministerial Committee on Migration will do an announcement in that regard. But we had to actually scale down the capacity from 20,000 to 1,500 because the numbers were dwindling.
Tulani Mabusos.
The Midday Report
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702. We're talking strategy on the field live because you get real-time stock management with FNB SpeedPoint, right?
Oh, yes. For business owners that want to know what their stock, sales and staff are doing, Get Paid Plus lets you track it all.
See what's coming in, going out, what's selling, and who's selling it.
Get in the payments game with a bank that gives you full control with Get Paid Plus on FNB SpeedPoint. FNB, help changes everything. First National Bank, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider. T's and C's apply.
The world is moving fast. Consumer mindsets and preferences are changing in real time. AI is creating new rules and timelines are shorter than ever. At Plus 94 Research, we help leaders reduce uncertainty. We deliver authentic, real-time data grounded in proven methodologies and powered by relevant, cutting-edge technology. So when decisions can't wait, you move forward with clarity, confidence, and impact. Plus 94 Research, the science of decision-making.
Peregrine Capital presents Brian Habana's Count to 100.
In my journey to 100, it started with my first cap, then my second, 10th, 50th, 90th, 99th.
Brian Habana, his 100th international test. You get to 100 one decision at a time. For 28 years, Peregrine Capital has applied that same discipline to turn 1 million rand into 100 million. Peregrine Capital. Invest in performance. An authorized FSP. Past performance non-indicative of future performance. T's and C's apply.
Everything you need to know about the local government elections is on 702 Cape Talk and EWN.co.za. Because this is more than local. It's personal.
702. The World View.
With Adam Gilchrist.
News from elsewhere in the world. A very good morning to you, Adam. Let's start with
Morning.
Iran targeting exercising Americans. Explain.
Yeah, what happens is a lot of people like to share their stuff, don't they? You might look at my sleep score. Look how many steps I've done. Look how many scales of stairs I've achieved in the last 24 hours, that sort of stuff. And particularly in the military, frankly, look how many press-ups I've done. Look at what weights I'm now lifting. And what's happening is that people are putting that kind of detail onto their exercise apps, and those are then being shared out there. They are effectively already out there. If you put on Strava, which is a well-known exercise app, and 1,300 US military users of Strava have been found to be sharing their workout details at military bases in the Middle East, and that a Sky investigation has found absolutely that some of those bases have been duly targeted by Iran with drones, not necessarily always successfully. But the point is that if you are putting, as it seems some soldiers are in American uniforms, details of routes and timings of runs and cycles and swims, it therefore gives away daily routines, patterns of deployment, who's moving where, who's going between bases, who's at, for instance, places that are not labeled on maps necessarily. And a lot of these activities also posted under real names. So they say 1,300 users of Strava have basically given the game away effectively to the Iranians or anyone else who wants to stumble across this. And it's 7 years after the Pentagon first warned American soldiers, do not post this data, and yet this data is out there.
And now they're finding out, are they not? Now, prisoner exchanges were quite famous in the years of the Cold War. Adam, something similar has just happened.
Well, except without the exchange bit, I suppose. So we know that a 32-year-old former US Marine, a guy called Robert Gilman, he's been locked up in prison in Russia for the last 4 years. He was found guilty of getting drunk and assaulting a police officer and then behind bars of assaulting prison guards. How much of that is trumped up, we absolutely don't know. But now, indeed, Donald Trump has shared on Truth Social that after discussions with President Vladimir Putin, Russia agreed to release him very much on a humanitarian basis and asked for no one in return. You wonder, though, is that Vladimir Putin on the back foot with declining popularity, who therefore needs a kind of positive PowerPoint, or indeed ditto Donald Trump on the back foot, needing a positive PowerPoint, and getting a guy released always helps, doesn't it, with that? Robert Gilman is now back home. He has already flown home. And inevitably, the thing he said he missed most in his 4 years behind bars with his family, saying that he had suffered physical and psychological torture, the thing he wants most, a great cheeseburger. Of course, he's American. What else would he want?
And Adam, what lies under the surface?
What lies beneath, indeed. So what we have here is the River Danube. Now, we did mention this a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, talking about how some of the Nazi warships that had been scuttled at the Soviet Army's advance got sunk into the Danube. And because river levels are so low in the European heatwave and the drought and so forth, that we were seeing the hulls, the rusting hulls of some of those old ships appear. Well, now the Danube is so low, in Budapest specifically in Hungary, that the bodies of 2 Second World War German soldiers have been uncovered. Dog tags still on them. One was a soldier in the Wehrmacht, the other in the Waffen-SS, which suggests this guy had a rather unspeakable war. Anyway, police found, the investigators found a largely intact German army motorcycle, also dating back 80 plus years, a wedding ring, a Kuban shield, which is a combat badge of the German army in those days, and some anti-tank mines stand back on those. All this stuff remarkably well preserved because of the mix of harbour sludge and oil in the riverbed. Now, apart from being historically interesting and maybe a little ghoulish in some ways, there's also now some hope amongst families who are saying they might discover the fates of their long-lost ancestor soldiers. Given that the Danube is revealing now bodies and dog tags and other information, it could actually solve a few mysteries.
Indeed. Adam Gilchrist with this morning's Worldview.
EWN Business.
Well, 27 minutes after 8 o'clock, our final business update for the morning. Mateo, let's start with Grindrod. Their shares hitting a near 6-year low after mixed results.
Yeah, Grindrod Limited expects earnings for the 6 months ended in June to decline by between 57 and 60% compared with the same period last year. This was largely due to a once-off gain recorded in the prior period. In a trading statement on Wednesday, the logistics and freight company said earnings are expected to range by between 573 to 623 million rand. This is lower compared to the 1.4 billion rand reported for the comparative period. Now, Grindrod says the drop primarily reflects a once-off net profit of 902 million recorded in the prior period. For the year to May, Grindrod reported higher volumes at its Maputo terminal and its Maiden Wharf terminal in Durban. Their shares down 11% on the JSE.
The Spur Group planning to fight a 75 million rand damages penalty.
Yeah, not so tasteful for them at the moment. Spur Corporation plans to appeal an arbitration ruling ordering it to pay GPS Food 75 million rand in damages plus a 10% annual interest. Now, when the interest is added, the total climbs to 123 million rand in penalties. The dispute in question dates back to 2019 when a proposed joint venture to develop and operate a rib processing facility fell apart. GPS Food says there was an oral agreement that the facility would be supplying ribs to Spur, but the fast food group later backed out. Spur maintains that no final joint venture agreement was ever signed. Now, the arbitrator ruled in GPS Food's favor on the main contractual claim. A separate 95 million rand claim alleging misrepresentation was also dismissed. The appeal will now be headed by 3 independent senior arbitrators and is scheduled to sit in February 2027, and that particular decision will be final.
Gosh, where's the rand?
Looking at the markets, a lot of weakness yesterday from the JSE, down 900 points. Some of the biggest losers included Grindrod, down 11%, Omnia down 8%, Naspers was down 7%, with Richmond down 3.9%. The rand at this hour, 16 rand 17 cents against the US dollar. It's a little flat, but still in a good position against the US unit. 18 rand 63 against the euro, and 21 rand 82 cents against the British pound. Price of gold is down 0.5% at $4,378 an ounce, while platinum is also weaker at $1,745.
Just to make sure I understood you correctly, so you're saying that as far as this misrepresentation claim was concerned, that was dismissed?
Yeah, that was dismissed, but the first initial claim
Yeah.
of 75 million rand, that was given.
So they couldn't call them people with a taste for lies, because that was dismissed. All right. Mateo Kharipe, EWN Business. Go straight to the news. Mr. Zulu, what do you have?
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. Gauteng police are confident they have a strong case against the man accused of killing 4 people in Reicha Park, saying he may not have acted alone. 4 people, including 2 police officers, were killed in the area last Friday. The 23-year-old Regan Collis, who has been described by police as a notorious gangster, has been linked to the attack. He appeared for the first time in the Boksburg Magistrates Court yesterday. Kosikona Malingam Nisi was there.
Collis faces 4 counts of murder and 1 of attempted murder. He has also been charged with robbery with aggravating circumstances and the possession of an unlicensed firearm and ammunition. Police have confirmed they are not simply looking at Collis. Investigators believe others may have been involved in carrying out the attack and are following leads that could open the door to further arrests. This was confirmed by the state prosecutor in court.
Your Worship, the state has provided what we call a provisional charge sheet, which is attached to the J15. That is provisional in the sense that investigations are still ongoing. There is a possibility of charges being added and or other accused being added to the proceedings.
It also emerged that Collis is no stranger to the criminal justice system. He is currently facing 5 other matters, including murder and hijacking charges. The matter was postponed for bail purposes to August 25th. Or see Konamalinga Mnisi Eyewitness News.
A new digital platform aimed at making it easier and faster for eligible travelers to enter South Africa has been launched. Visitors will now apply online without going to an embassy or visa processing center. Speaking at the launch at OR Tambo International Airport yesterday, President Cyril Ramaphosa described the platform as a game changer.
It's not only about immigration, it is about the ease of doing business, enabling investments to come into our country.
Members of the police's anti-gang unit have arrested a prison warden for dealing in drugs. The officials searched the car he was travelling in during a roadblock in Goodwood, Cape Town yesterday. The 47-year-old is in police custody and will appear in the Goodwood Magistrates Court once charged. The police's Frederick van Wyk.
The members found 600 Mendrix tablets, 100 grams of tik, 300 grams of dagga, 23 cellular telephones, 3 earpods pairs, 5 USB memory sticks, 10 condoms and 60 libido tablets in the warden's vehicle.
And South Africans are being encouraged to talk to their loved ones about the importance of organ and tissue donation. Health officials say knowing a loved one's wishes can make a difficult time a little easier for families when such decisions have to be made. As August marks Organ and Tissue Donation Awareness Month, Western Cape Health MEC Mariel Wenger says one donor could potentially help several people.
None of us wants to imagine losing someone we love, but speaking to our families about our wishes is an act of care. It's a simple conversation that can help those closest to us understand what we would want, and through organ and tissue donation could one day give another person more time with their loved ones.
A cloudy day in store for Gauteng today. The temperatures will peak at highs between 14 and 18 degrees.
And in the traffic, we've got delays in Amalgam along Crownwood Road, Church Street, as well as Industrial Street. This is due to an accident along Crownwood Road while traveling in Bedfordview. Slow-moving traffic on the N3 North between the Geldenhuys Interchange and Van Buren Road.
The top story this hour, Gauteng police are confident they have a strong case against the man accused of killing 4 people in Recha Park, saying he may not have acted alone.
That's Amanda, before she got naked. When the power tripped, Amanda felt more helpless than when her mom-in-law called her lasagna different. So Amanda got naked. She got car and home insurance at a lower premium and can now call an electrician anytime via the Naked app. There we go. Cover your car and home now at naked.insure and see how easy insurance can be when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
What happens when one of SA's leading maths teachers decides that every learner deserves access to quality maths education? You get SIMI, the Shire Isabella Maths Institute, founded by Michael House maths teacher Paul DeVette. Already helping thousands of high school learners, SIMI provides CAPS-aligned maths workbooks, free teaching videos, and online revision sessions designed to build confidence and improve results. Whether you're a learner, parent, or teacher, visit Primedia Plus or CIMI.education and join the movement to improve maths grades. Proudly supported by Primedia Cares and Michael House Community Partnership Trust.
You feel it long before it hits, the rumble of something big. That's 10Bet, where the stakes rise and every online game hits like lightning. Deposit 50 Rand or more and get the welcome offer package of up to 5,000 Rand. Join now at 10bet.co.za. 10Bet is a licensed betting operator and supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 shall be permitted to bet. Betting can be addictive. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help is 076 675 0710.
You're listening to 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, brought to you by BCX, technology that helps organizations move forward.
Hi, Bongos and the team. So there is a movie theater etiquette and then there's Bioscope etiquette. We grew up in the era of Bioscope etiquette when you see Bruce Lee doing his thing and giving Chuck Norris a smack or two, and you just hear the flades going all over. I'm shy, show Bruce Lee. Hey, that's the era, man. Hey, I miss that actually. I miss that. You know, when we just get involved in the movie, and yeah, it just becomes an experience. You know, gone are those days. Yeah, last one I think was Django. That's the last time that we kind of saw that type of reaction in the movie theater. Sharp.
Good morning, Bongani and the team. Talking about cinema etiquettes. In the 90s, I lived in Hillbrow and we used to attend B cinemas in town and also in Hillbrow. There were no etiquettes there, especially the movies that we used to watch, the Kung Fu movies. So the sounds that people would make when somebody's getting hit, and man, it was such a different experience. I mean, you couldn't just keep quiet. So yeah, there were no etiquette in the B cinemas back in the 90s. Tanda from Koslores.
How's the Bongani and the team? Gitumetsi here. Trust you well. Yeah, I remember the long queues outside of Sterland on Tuesdays. They literally used to be chaos outside the mall and inside the mall. And just to correct you there, Sterland is actually called Ndlela Mall. Yeah, good show as always. Have a great day. Bye.
Bongani, morning Bongani. Yeah, I was in and out of the cinema. It was crazy busy with this new Spider-Man movie. We're practically sold out for 2 days. So yeah, the movies are still busy certain times. Yeah, I just can't remember which cinema I went to. They go to Signal Jammers, where they block the killer phone signals. So obviously you can't use the phone or speak on it or chat or type. So yeah, it was a bit of a blessing. I just can't remember where it was, but yeah, I'm sure they will get them out sometime.
That's a good idea. Hey? Signal jammers at the cinema where they become no-cell zones. So in other words, you can't get access to your signal.
No,
Why do you
I'm
need
sorry.
signal at the cinema?
Oh, what? That emergency call when it comes in
For
and
what?
you are there. No, Bongani. We will not just, you know what?
Are you
Don't
a first
use your...
responder? Are you an emergency?
Yes, I am. To my children and my husband, I am. So please, I cannot.
I think it's a
Brilliant
bloomin'
idea.
good idea.
No.
It's a bloomin' good idea.
Then we can have no signals even at church, at the theater, at the...
Please, some belief.
But then, no.
And we emergency services when you must be on standby for people's emergencies.
For the people that I matter to the most.
So I always have my phone on silent.
Yes.
And because of the studio environment that we work in, and I'm too old to keep up with when would I have now switched it back and is it vibrating and da-da-da. So it's just permanently on silent.
On silent, yeah.
So I've often been asked the question, but what if somebody calls you in the middle of the night and they're having an emergency? And I say, I did not go to medical school. I'm not a doctor. I didn't. What must I do?
EWN Sport.
Cindy Paluta, we're talking about cinema etiquette. That's how we got to this conversation. I don't know if you saw the viral video of this lady at Fourways Mall and how unhappy she was. And I was saying, one of the things that I thought about was there's a whole bunch of teenagers who are now going back to the cinema because of the big blockbusters. But from about 2020 and the times of the lockdown and the pandemic, they missed out on those formative years where you go to the cinema with your parents or with adults at least around you. And so you kind of learn how to behave. And their parents, who have all of that etiquette, are sending them to the movies like we went when we were teenagers and thinking the little ones will behave themselves. And that might be part of the problem.
Well, yeah. So it's quite funny because I did see another TikTok last night of a guy in America freaking out because adults were behaving badly in the movies.
Ooh.
So he said there was a guy in front of him who kept checking his phone every 20 minutes, like maybe for the time or whatever, and then the whole cinema glows. And then halfway through the movie, he stood up and put his jacket on and took his time about going out. And then the lady in the seat next to him was having a conversation with her boyfriend, like, oh, I thought this might happen. And I just was like, it is a thing. People have forgotten how to behave in the movies, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think so. One of the listeners was now suggesting that perhaps what we should do is have signal jammers where your phone signal doesn't work in the movie house.
So I just perhaps think etiquette in general has gone out. I believe all social media, et cetera, has created a selfishness in people, an entitlement to do whatever I want in the movie house because I paid to come here. Why do I have to keep quiet, right? But yeah, I don't want to just blame the kids because the adults are behaving badly.
Yeah.
I recently went to go watch Toy Story, and the adults in the movie house were talking and carrying on, and the kids were quiet.
Yeah. I mean, I remember a time when you would go to the Nouveau and you'd get a look for chewing popcorn.
And now
it
they
wasn't
serve
meant
you
to be that type of cinema.
Now they serve you popcorn in the bags, which is so loud. While you're digging in it, and then somebody's shaking theirs to get the sound, and it's just all round a thing. But I'm actually going to a movie this weekend. I don't know what the actual movie is. I'm going for the experience of it.
Yeah. I'm also going to the movies this weekend.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you going to knit in yours?
No.
So this is for knitting. So this is a specific show and a specific cinema that for this show, I think I'll let you know on Monday. But apparently, I think from what I can see from the pictures, they leave the lights on. So you can knit while you're watching this movie, which is what I would do at home anyway, right? When you watch a movie at home, you don't watch it in complete and total darkness. I'm so excited. I can't even. I'm like, what am I going to do?
Oh, I can't wait to hear all about the knitting movie.
So maybe we need that, a movie house where you're allowed to talk and be on your phone and another one where you can select silence.
I'll tell you what, the lights are going to have to be on this evening for Banyana, hey?
Oh gosh, I really hope so. They're playing Nigeria. Both sides exited from WAFCON, which means they have to play tonight in a World Cup qualifier at 10 p.m. Banyana striker Hilda Magaya.
Obviously, you know that in a game of football, there's win, lose, and draw. In as much as it hurts, you still need to pick yourself up and say it's not over until God says it's over. As we've heard that we still have a chance, we picked ourselves up after the match and say, you know what, we still have a chance. So let's take it with both hands and keep going.
Speaking of WAFCON, Malawi's dream debut continues. They're through to the final after beating Algeria 3-1 and will play Cameroon on Sunday. Cameroon beat the hosts Morocco on penalties. Back in the Betway Premiership, Orlando Pirates coach Abdeslam Wadu was unimpressed with his side after their 1-0 draw at Amazulu last night.
I think we had two phases of the game. The first half, I think we had a lot of precipitation, a lot of technical errors. We didn't really saw the real face of Pirate. I didn't recognize my team at the first half. Although we have scored, I don't even think that we deserve to lead with 1-0 at the first half.
Kaizer Chiefs unbeaten and topped the table after beating Sekakone 2-0 through Bartman and Shabalala. Milford got their first win. They beat Sabalele 1-0. Durban City and Golden Arrows finished goalless. PSG have defended their UEFA Super Cup title. They beat Aston Villa 2-1. The All Blacks will be joined by Richie Mongo for the greatest rivalry. Mongo, who was ineligible for selection as he signed for a Japanese club, has been given an exemption by New Zealand Rugby. He last played for the All Blacks in 2023. Live Test cricket, the hosts Australia 198 all out on day one against Bangladesh. Hassan Mahmood took 6 wickets. Steve Smith went for 71. In reply, Bangladesh 24 without loss. And in tennis from the WTA 1000s this morning, Elena Rybakina came from a set down to beat Coco Gauff 5-7, 6-2, 6-2. And will play Iga Swiatek, who beats Svetlana in 3 sets. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
8:45, let's catch up with the roads. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we still have got delays on the N1 South approaching Winnie Mandela Drive due to that truck that jackknifed earlier. I think it's been moved to the side of the road. And then if you are traveling on the November 1 South in the Midrand area, we've got an accident right near a new road. It's causing delays as you come out of Olifantsfontein Road. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North between Van Buren Road and the Gululis interchange. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Good morning, Bongani. You know, Bongani, I said it, I think it was this week, I sent you a voice note, and I'm still going to say it again. You're one of my favorite people. I am exactly like you when it comes to phones. My phone is permanently on silent. So I call you back on my terms. And I've also been asked that question regarding the emergency thing. And it's so funny, I'm laughing because that is my exact answer. You know, if someone is breaking into your house at night, don't call me, call the police, call me after. But call the police first, because there's nothing that I'm going to do. If you having a heart attack, or my mom's even having a heart attack, or my child, don't call me, you're calling the wrong person. Call the emergency services first, and then only call me after. So I disagree with Amu so much when it comes to that. Leave your phone, man.
Morning, Bongani. This is Ngedisi here. I think cell phone jammers at movie house. That's a big no, guys. No. That is now, I think it's an invasion of privacy. I mean, no. We still need to get our emergency messages and all that, you know. No, guys. We're not in Russia. Let people have their phone and just learn etiquette.
Coming up
on the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
Clement Manyatela, we're talking about cinema etiquette and people who turn their phones, whether it's at the cinema or in fact even in the theater, whilst you are trying to watch your phone. And all they're doing is they're so addicted to scrolling and being on their phones and checking messages. I have been at a theater show where someone was not even on WhatsApp. They were going through news sites because they were in a row in front of me, so I could actually see their screen. They had no reason, no business being on their phone. But I think it's just people being used to no longer being able to sit with themselves and sit with a moment and be present at something. They need a distraction. One of the things I've started doing is, even when I'm watching, let's say, a series, I try and actually make sure the phone is in another room. Because even at home, it's difficult, but certainly there's no excuse in public spaces. Is your phone permanently on silent?
Yes. Do people still have ringtones?
I don't know what my ringtone sounds like. So how do you deal with that? Yeah, but what about an emergency?
I will hear my phone. I mean, the iPhone vibration is very loud, actually.
So it's on
Everybody-
vibrate. It's not on silent.
No. Yes, sorry, vibration, not on silent.
So what happens if you get a
there's
call during
slide.
the show? Doesn't it vibrate on the desk as you are
My
on
mic
the
is
show?
always off. My mic is only on when I speak. So normally, and I work on my phone, remember? So I'm always holding my phone. So you will only hear the iPhone vibration if the phone is on a desk and is
Right.
facing up. But if I face it down, or I'm holding it in my hand, won't really hear the
All right, so I'm going to troll you today. I'm going to stand outside the studio and wait for a moment where the phone won't be in your hand and you are speaking, and then I'll
you're
call
gonna
you. That's on the show today.
Try it. On the show today, we're going to start with the open line, and we're going to reflect on the testimony out of the Madlanga Commission yesterday by the IPID Deputy Director. I was quite fascinated by how people were responding to his testimony. A lot of people were questioning, why is Chakalson even wasting our time with this guy? Should we? Which is weird, because if you have respected the commission and trusted it up to this point to mine the truth,
But we don't
why
like
are
it
you
when-
uncomfortable
we
now
don't
when
like it
they're
when-
raising things
that we don't
that
like
you don't
that are
like?
against our faves?
Then you're not principled then about the work of the commissioners. You only loved, it's like the EFF or other parties who celebrate the court decisions when those decisions are in their favor until they fail, and then
the
they
judiciary is bad.
Yeah.
I mean, the chilling thing for me was when he said that you get a bunch of criminals who maybe take over someone's house, invade someone's house. And when these officers come and there's a shootout, everybody gets killed indiscriminately. And the police's argument is that, no, but we were returning fire.
Yeah.
But you ask them, okay, hang on, who are the people? Who are the suspects? Who are the people? They have no clue. There are no cases. There are no investigations. There's a very clear sense, he was saying, that these are nothing more than assassination squads.
Yeah. So we'll chat about that. We'll also chat about what Makashule Ghana said yesterday. He called in on the open line and suggested that the middle class need to also be part of the solution. Go work for government and, contribute towards providing solutions. Would you work for government? Would you do public service to the Republic?
Isn't this a public service that we do?
At 10 o'clock, we're going to do our hanging out feature. We're hanging out with the veteran broadcaster today, Leanne Manners. And then at 11 o'clock, we do our Thursday dialogue. Today, we're asking if the SADC summit that's taking place this weekend can find a regional solution to migration.
Clement Manyatela, between 9 and 12.
Cloud adoption is no longer the differentiator. Business value is. Today's leading organizations need more than technology platforms. They need better visibility, faster decision-making, and the agility to respond to change. BCX connects cloud, cybersecurity, managed services, AI, and trusted telecom business connectivity into one intelligent ecosystem that helps organizations improve operational performance, strengthen resilience, and create measurable business outcomes. BCX. Connected multi-cloud, intelligent business. BCX enables businesses. Visit bcx.co.za.
That's Fani before he got naked. Fani's insurance premium went up for no reason, irritating him more than when the boys ignored the really, really, really funny meme he posted in the group chat. What? So Fani got naked. He got comprehensive car insurance and a way lower premium in seconds on the Naked app. Go Fani. Get a car and home insurance quote now at naked.insure and see how much you can save when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
The moment we've been waiting for all morning. From Durban to London, Chef Knox is putting South African flavors on the map. She's taken the UK food scene by storm, getting praise from leading chefs such as Gordon Ramsay, no less. Currently a chef in residence at London's Fallow restaurant, and now, of course, is bringing that journey home with intimate long table dinners in Johannesburg, Cape Town and Durban. with, of course, the launch of her new book, The South African Cookbook, which I have a copy of, I'm proud to say. And it's all about celebrating not just the food, but the people, the places, the memories that make food special and that have shaped, of course, her own cooking. And at the heart of it is Durban, the city Chef Knox calls home. The cookbook does take us on a culinary journey through South Africa's major city, capturing each region's distinct flavors, spices, and energy. And she's here to talk to us about her remarkable journey. Welcome to 702 Breakfast. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
If you go back to your childhood, right?
Yes.
And your first forays and experimenting with food and flavors, could you have imagined the life that food has allowed you to have?
To be honest, I'll never imagine it. It was just like when you're eating something and enjoying it. Or sometimes as a kid, you don't even like some of the food that you eat. But never thought that one day I'll be like more interested in like doing the food, being a chef.
How did you fall in love with cooking?
Actually, my father was the one who was cooking. Both my parents, they cook, but my mom was traditional and my father was more, he was working in the harbor and have a lot of Europeans that were coming in and they were exchanging the food. So that's where my father had, when he was cooking, there was something different with the ingredients, what he was using and how he was creating some of the dishes. And that's where it started to inspire me, how he can be able to get something with the different from my
right?
from same ingredients my mom is using, but my father's one was totally different how he create the food.
I mean, isn't it amazing how something that for many of us, certainly when we were teenagers or young adults, was a chore, right?
Yeah.
It was a chore to cook, and when it was your turn, it's like, oh, okay, fine.
Yes.
You know, and now look at you, going from South Africa to being a chef in residence at Fallow in London. I mean, that's a moment to celebrate.
Yes. Yeah, it's been an amazing journey, and I'm so happy that now I can be able to have something to share with the world with our food, to celebrate our food as in South African food.
What does it feel like for you to get praise from people like Gordon Ramsay and Helen Gore, for example?
You know, it's so inspiring because you look up to these people when we're doing things and they are there in the industry. But when they come and they taste your food and they get praise, it's a pinch moment, I will say, honestly, because, and especially while we're doing some of the food, like a pie from South African pie, peppered steak, for me, it was just like amazing that they can be able to taste something from home and then love it. So
the South African cookbook, you are calling it, is it a way to say to someone, perhaps even international readers, right? Yeah. This is how we cook in South Africa. Or is it a way for you to say, South Africans, come on, get back in the kitchen and cook properly?
Yeah, actually, it's because, when I'm traveling the world, I always look for something South Africans. I always look for the books. I always look something. And you don't find a lot of South African restaurant people talking about our food. So for me, this most was something that inspired me to tell the world and show them that, our food is really amazing, it's vibrant, it's full of, the colors, bold flavors that we have, is diversity. So this is what I want to share with the world, that actually South Africa is not about the wines that they know, but our food is even bolder than that. So this is like the beginning to be able to showcase what we have in South Africa.
I see. Yeah. And of course, not all of us can hop on a plane and go to Fallow in London. So you planned these long table dinners in both, well, in fact, all three cities, Joburg, Cape Town, and Durban. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I want to celebrate actually what we have around the most cities. Durban, we did more of the food that I used to more celebrating in Durban. With Chef Johans, and then here as well I'm having a book launch and then having dinners with the friends, and then I'm going to Cape Town. In Cape Town I'm going to Cape Grace, where I'll be celebrating my journey and as well as the food that is from Cape Town, the dishes that are actually from Cape Town.
We have a fun game that we like to play. It's called Rapid Fire. You've got to answer questions as quickly as possible without hesitation. without any doubt, as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
First thing that comes to mind when we ask you our rapid fire questions. Durban or London?
Durban.
Umngqusho or Dombolo?
Dombolo.
Wood fire or air fryer?
Wood fryer.
Tabasco or chili sauce?
Chili sauce.
If you were to cook a meal for King Misizulu, what would your main be?
I'll cook a dombolo. I'll cook a dombolo with slow cooked meat.
What is the one South African dish the whole world needs to know about?
7 colors.
Curry or bobotie?
Curry.
What's the one ingredient you cannot cook without?
Curry.
Amapiano or gqom?
Ooh. I'm a piano.
Not gqom.
I'm in between. Okay, come.
Babes wotum. Ozodwa wabantu.
Oh, this is a hard one. Babes.
It's called the Great South African Cookbook. And of course, for people who want to come and experience your long dinner tables, your long dining tables, people can go and find that information available where? On your social media pages.
On the social media, yes.
And follow. You've got a book launch at Exclusive Books. In fact, that happened last night. On Wednesday, the 12th of August, that happened at Rosebank. That must have been fun.
That was amazing, actually.
All right.
More fun.
People can follow you on your socials to get more details for your upcoming events. But the book is out. Chef Knox, the Great South African Cookbook.
702. More than a radio station. Let's walk the talk.
Oh, look at the time. It's 9 o'clock. 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa was brought to you by BCX, connecting cloud, telecom business connectivity, AI, and more to help organizations reduce complexity, improve resilience, and unlock opportunities.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry is set to continue hearing evidence on alleged hit squads operating in KwaZulu-Natal. The Commission turned its focus. Inquiry is set to continue hearing evidence on alleged hit squads operating in KwaZulu-Natal. The Commission turned its focus yesterday to the alleged criminal infiltration of the police in the province. It heard that some officers appear to be vulnerable to being used by criminal elements. Alfara Mushwana has more.
The test